turned it off. No, I didn't. I'm trying a new microphone, and when I did it recording a video, it sounded fine. As soon as I get somebody in here, I'll put them on the spot and ask them to make sure it's like sounds fine. I guess I'll hold it. It's kind of weird and awkward. I don't know. But I have some notes written down. I have personally worked at Amazon only a total of like 3 or 4 months of my life, but still, if you work 3 or 4 months straight at one Amazon warehouse, that'll give you some seniority. That's how bad the turnover rate is. It's like it's incredible, and in my opinion, they do it on purpose. Allegedly, it's designed that way. And just tonight, a big channel here on YouTube called Spill. Bertha, do I sound good to you? Because this microphone sounded really good when I used it in a recorded video, and now I'm wondering how it sounds in the lives. And I want to make sure it's like connected well, if you don't mind telling me. This channel called Spill, they do good investigative reporting type videos. They did one tonight on Amazon, the company, the online marketplace we all shop from. So they had just a really good overview, and they were talking about how now it's one of the most dangerous places to work. The audio is crystal clear. Yay. Yeah, look, it's pink. Hey, Homer, how are you doing? How is your week going? So I was talking about, well, I want to talk about my experiences at Amazon, but first, before I really get into my experiences, I want to go over this video, which I will put in the link. I'm sorry, in the description, the link for it when I'm done with this. I forgot to start it with that. I'm sorry, but like, I'd really rather you sit here and watch me before you like go watch it, anyways. But it is a really good video on the channel Spill, and my light just went down. You're doing okay. Wish you were better than okay. I'm pretty good. It's been a big week, but everybody is good. Jeez Louise, this silly light. I might it does have a clip. I'm sorry, give me one moment. I'm gonna try to clip it onto the tripod to keep it steady. So, anyways, this video that premiered tonight on Spill, it started off with like trending recently were AI reenactments of inside Amazon warehouses. So these were fake. They were not real. It was AI depictions of like people, employees being mistreated by the higher ups, basically. And then, of course, a lot of people could commiserate. And they're one of the largest employers in the world probably now. But like, I have worked at two Amazon warehouses. My husband has worked at one, and it is like it's such a common job in the places where there is a warehouse. It's like so many people in town have worked there. It's just it's so commonplace, and a lot of people are seasonal. They will hire you seasonally with the carrot dangling in front of you of full-time benefits, and like keep you seasonal for literally like 9 months at least. I know that for a fact. So now they're talking about how it's one of the most dangerous places to work. Hey, Jesse, how are you doing? That being a firefighter who fights fires is less dangerous statistically than working in an Amazon warehouse. This was on the channel Spill. That's what they said. And they're a huge channel. I trust their investigative journalism, but like the injuries are so bad. You have twice as much of a chance of being injured at Amazon compared to other warehouse work similar to it. That is insane. Hey, Diamond, how are you doing tonight? And I believe, I forget the exact rate, but it's something similar with Elon Musk's facility, SpaceX. Compared to the rest of the industry, they like get so many more injuries there than the rest. And imagine, I saw one comment that was like, I worked there for 3 years, witnessed one unaliving and five serious injuries. And like, you don't hear about a lot of the injuries because they make the people sign NDAs, supposedly, allegedly, in order for them to get compensation. And I don't even want to repeat what the person said that they heard when it happened. Hey, Dorothy, how are you doing tonight? So, there was this big channel that prompted me to talk about Amazon because I've worked there before. And I'm just going over kind of what was in the video. The AI reenactments, it was like something I think that probably spurred a lot inside of people and started a conversation that could always be ongoing. And whether or not you ever plan on working at Amazon, there big huge chance that you use them or have or you will. And it's just important to know what goes on in order for us to all get the packages as soon as possible. I still use them too. And the big thing in warehouses like Amazon, often they'll be like safety first. It's safety first and then productivity. They've said that at like every single factory or warehouse I've ever worked. And it could not, it's less and less true the bigger the corporation, in my opinion, supposedly, allegedly. The smaller the company, the more they actually care about the individual and their safety. And then like the bigger the corporation, they're too big to fail. They're just like they're not gonna care about the numbers is always going to be pushed to the point where they're inhuman. They expect people to be robots basically, and then they will do things that like impede you from getting the best numbers that you could because it's all designed for you to fail, in my opinion. Hey TWC, how are you doing? Thank you, Boston George. And so people, I'm sure this happens other places in Amazon warehouses, but in order to keep up the numbers, people are urinating in bottles, lifting heavy things that they should be asking help for with their, help with from their coworkers, but they just don't have the time to. The clock is ticking. There's a literal countdown on your scanner. I only worked, well, actually, okay, I did work two positions at Amazon. Picker is what I believe is probably the most common, or at least seasonally. They hire a lot of extra pickers seasonally, and that's what it kind of sounds like. You go around picking out items from bins to fulfill orders, and it's something that always needs to be done, as you can imagine. And you're not necessarily filling like a whole order either. You might just be getting one or two items out of several items more in a list because like your warehouse only has one or two of them. You never really know exactly like what you're fulfilling order wise. So, in addition to what I already mentioned, they like don't buckle their seatbelts when they're delivery drivers because just the act of stopping to buckle and then unbuckle your seatbelt every time you stop for a delivery will put you too far behind production wise. I already mentioned how it's statistically safer to be a firefighter than to work at an Amazon warehouse. Employees are told not to help their fellow employees during medical emergencies. Once again, the spill video goes into detail about certain instances that, like, I think you guys should watch that. Hey Tim, how are you doing? Nathan said Costco is a decent big company to work for. I have heard. I always loved Costco, Nathan, but like when I loved them, they were a little different. Like they used to have a cap on what their CEO could make. I'm not getting the numbers right, but it was something like the CEO could only make like 10 times more than what the bottom dollar paid worker made like at a Costco store. And I always loved that. And but since then now the CEO makes millions, not just like a few or several hundred thousand like they used to. And they used to have a lot of really good policies, like as far as where they sourced their products from, like the farms and stuff. But I just feel like, yeah, we don't live close enough to one now. But I have heard the same thing, Nathan. I have. We always tried to apply there. um, I don't know what nice. Am I so dumb or what? But what does nice DSLs mean? I don't know what that means. Firefighters get crazy tail. I don't know if crazy is what you want. I applied there twice when we lived near there. They run your credit, and I don't think it was good enough. Oh gosh, you have to have good credit. Talik said you'll never find rainbows if you're looking down. Ibica man, e-bike man. Listen to me, Ibica man. Why do women run from me? Oh, I don't know, Ibica man. Are you chasing them? Talix, if your life was a novel, what would be the title and ending of it? Oh gosh, you guys that ask me those questions, I can't answer stuff like that on the spot. Not really, Jose. I kind of just started. I was talking about there's a video that premiered tonight on the YouTube channel Spill. And I myself have worked at Amazon a few times at a few different warehouses. And this video is what I'm kind of like going over now. You haven't missed that much. Statistically, it's safer to be a firefighter than to work in an Amazon warehouse, apparently. So instead of like calling 911, they encourage employees to go to AmCare. And I do remember that when I was there. Like they really like amp up AmCare like there's some kind of quality medical facility. In my opinion, they're not. Like the people that work in AmCare, in my opinion, from what I gather, they're just like they're CPR certified. I got CPR certified when I was like 12. And I'm not saying that like that you can't be competent. But like it's like they make you feel like it's like legit, like people with like EMT training or like nurses or something at least. Like So there are Amazon facilities for doctor visits. And if you do get hurt, they heavily encourage you to go visit the Amazon doctor because the whole process of workman's comp and stuff is just not going to go smoothly, if anything at all, unless you don't go to the Amazon doctors. Now, one day I hope that we are evolved enough to see the fault in all of this and be like, wow, that's illegal now. Can you imagine when our grandparents worked for Amazon? Like it was legal for them to have to go see the Amazon doctor. Like, and you know, see the fault. But like once again, the big corporations, and of course at the warehouse, it's twice as likely to have employees get injured there. They're going to really try to keep it all in their hands as much as possible. I am married. Yes, my husband is Boston George in the chat. We've been married 15 years. I'm a vampire. Why do women run from me? You're silly. But fighting fires is sexy. Driving a forklift isn't. Zorro, I don't know. I disagree. I think driving a forklift is pretty sexy, but I guess it depends on the woman. Um, she's married to me, Juan. That's funny. You want to hear a great song? Try Hi Ren from Ren. Okay, Talix, I'll try to remember that. But nobody is forcing anyone to work at Amazon. No, Zorro, but they do seem to have a knack of moving into small towns and becoming the top paying hourly entry level employer in the area, drawing a lot of attention. They know what to do, which I'll get more into later, in my opinion, like to keep the turnover rate high and keep people like the last few times I worked for them. I like literally had to like click a button, and since I was already in the system, they're like, "Okay, here's your return day." They just want warm bodies. And I do like I'm not saying you're wrong. You're not wrong, but it is like one of the most profitable corporations, one of the largest employers ever probably to exist. They could pay people more in my opinion. They could. They could do better by their employees with policies as well. And it's just something we should all be aware of because it's just unsustainable. At a certain point, they can't siphon like everything off of us. There won't be people that are willing to work for Amazon because it simply won't be worth it. And the warehouse conditions are often very poor. I worked at a warehouse in Lexington and it was known to have mold problems, in my opinion. I just feel like I have to say that. It was like known. I don't know if you're aware of what the paint is that people often put in their basements to seal it, and it's used often for mold. Usually, you put it up to where it usually floods or gets water. I can't remember the name of that. Anybody in the chat knows it, I'd appreciate it. But like they had that all around this warehouse. I faintly smelled a mildew smell, and I remember being like, "That's the paint," because I grew up in Southern Indiana and Kentucky, and like, basically, unless you have a poured concrete basement, you probably will get a leaky basement. That's one reason we shied away from houses with basements because we couldn't afford a house, and the price range is usually more for a poured concrete basement, like the block basements, like. I hope yours doesn't leak if you have one, but like it's pretty much like at some point might, especially if you don't do stuff like that. But anyways, then people told me it was a problem. People had gotten asthma related issues and like they knew it was a problem for years and years. And it's like once again, if Amazon can't mitigate mold in their warehouses, like who can? I'm sorry, the chat wasn't moving, and that was because I had it stuck. I thought it wasn't moving because nobody was talking. Um, are you kidding me, Canyon? I've had no work done on my nose. That's a first. Mr. Rai Rai, I like opal, iridescent. I don't have a favorite color. I'm like really, I love iridescent stuff. Um, oh, e-bike man, I'm sorry. I'm gonna get through my notes and then we can talk about whatever you guys want to talk about if you want to stick through. Zorro said Amazon saved my hometown of San Bernardino. How did it save it, Zorro? Was the economy bad there? Tell me about that. I'd be interested. My hometown was dead until Amazon moved in. Okay, I guess that answers my question. Okay, well, that's interesting. I'm glad to hear that. I'm sincerely glad somebody has something nice to say about Amazon because that's the first. Better to be a private solicitor, I Sagittarius for Amazon said. Looks like you're holding a fuzzy birthday candle. That's funny. That's funny. I know. Okay, so I just does it sound that doesn't sound just as good. Does it sound just as good if I drop it on the floor? Um, let's see. Sorry about that. The railroad abandoned San Bernardino. Oh gosh, I know all about railroads. So the train stopped going through town, and that's what killed the industry. Because the town where I grew up in southern Indiana and lived as an adult, they started doing the opposite. There was always trains running, but then they started like stopping. Trump took away some regulation or something where the trains could literally just stop on the train tracks. Have any of you experienced that in the last 10 years or so, wherever you live? That never happened before. And I'm not kidding. Trains stopping for like 10 to 30 minutes at a time, unloading and loading. And like they were allowed to do it wherever, whenever. So you would be at an intersection, missing appointments, being late to work. I mean, it was horrible. And now they've made like some bypasses, these all these freaking roundabouts. I swear there's something going on with roundabouts. If it's just people getting like it's easy for people to skim money off the top of. There's so many roundabouts. Driving through Springfield, Kentucky, it's a very small town. And they can't stop putting roundabouts. There was like 3 roundabouts in 2 miles. I'm not kidding. And so anyways, I understand in the long run it may be better than a stoplight maintenance wise. Like I get that. I don't know why they're putting roundabouts in where there wasn't even a stoplight before, you know? Like out in the countryside where there's not that much traffic, and if anything, you're making it harder on people, especially big trucks, to go around the circles. I'm sorry. Yeah, I was trying to clip it onto my shirt and then I dropped it. Okay. I want to see, I kind of almost would rather hold it, but like it's good to be able to get a break. Does it sound just as good? I'm sorry for like practicing. Thank you, Davy Sean. Davy Sean. Thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. I don't know why I can't heart them. I hearted one gift the other night and now I can't. San Bernardino was a ghost town full of math heads, I should say, until Amazon came in. Well, that's cool, Zorro. I'm glad that you told me that because I had no idea. Wait, I'm sorry. Some basements aren't concrete. They're all concrete, Bertha. I meant blocks, like the cinder blocks, like instead of poured concrete. Poured concrete is always going to be better in areas where it might like flood. In southern Indiana, a lot of it's like grasslands. It's very wet. um, I don't know, Mark. San Bernardino. Okay, I already read that. It would blend in with her shirt, Homer. It does kind of, doesn't it? Let me see. Sounds better when you hold it. I'm glad you told me that, Dorothy. I don't mind holding it. It kind of makes me feel like a game show host or something holding a microphone. They put a roundabout near my home and there was none. Then 10 years later, they're everywhere. Right, Bertha? It seems like they're just everywhere. There's something about that. There's a roundabout conspiracy. I'm going to figure it out. The cops are bad in Kentucky, Mark. You think so? I haven't had any bad experiences. And I got a car and like I didn't drive it at night for years. And then I Instacarted and Door Dashed a lot. And I got pulled over 3 times for not having my headlights on because I'm an idiot. It's the kind of thing where like these little lights come on, so it looks like lights are on, and I didn't realize they weren't the actual headlights because I just never drove at night for a long time. But so all those times they were so nice to me, and I swear if it was in Florida or Indiana, they would have been like shining the flashlight in my eyes forever. Anyways, I know they gotta do what they gotta do though. Uh, I saw a really sweet video of a cop and pulled over a young lady and she was like giving him attitude and he's like, what's the matter? Why are you giving me this attitude? And she told him like she hasn't had good experiences with cops. Anyways, she ended up getting out of her car and he hugged her for like a long time and she was like sitting there crying in his arms. And it was so sweet. I almost reposted it and I like held back. So we went over, okay, warehouse conditions are often poor ventilation. There's been people who have gotten carbon monoxide poisoning, supposedly. My arm would be killing me. My line of work, my arms and hands are shot. Oh, Homer, dude, I'm sorry to hear that. That's the thing. Like, I don't want to cry in this, but like, it really is upsetting to think about all the people whose bodies are breaking down for not nearly is there enough money, but no, but definitely not 18 to $22 an hour. 21 years being a commercial vehicle and equipment mechanic. Oh, Homer, dude, that's cool, but I'm sorry it's broken your body down so much. I saw a video of someone saying roundabouts, or he said traffic circles are the reason we have tornadoes. Oh my gosh, if only that theory was true. Bertha, that is so funny. Oh, wow. Peace and joy. I saw that video. There's some good cops out there. Also, another good channel to check out is Delete Laws. He says a lot of legal information if we ever get violated. Oh, okay. Thanks, Peace and Joy. That's good information to know. Yes. And we need to teach our children, how to conduct themselves and ask for a lawyer if they're ever in any situation, right? And to remain calm and cooperate. That's funny, Bertha Boston said. Zora said, "There's no such thing as a good or a bad cop." Yeah, right. There's good and bad people in every profession, right? But yeah, I've noticed like, and I'm not just saying this, but like everybody is super freaking friendly. I got pulled over and I was speeding too. It was okay. I got pulled over like 4 times since we moved here in just a few years. And one time I was speeding pretty badly. It was like 15 miles over. I was going home from work from Amazon, and the cop, it was like he felt like he was bothering me. He was like trying to get out of my hair. Oh, Tyler, thank you. I have a husband, just so everybody knows. Delete laws. Yeah, he commented on a video I did months ago and I removed it. Carrie, you're talking about delete laws commented? Hi, the twins. How are you doing? You look, are you a big channel? I just don't recognize you. If you ever been in here before, how are you doing? So in 2022, there was like some bad heat waves in New Jersey, and 3 Amazon workers passed away. And this was during Week. If you don't know what Prime Week is, it's like the biggest sale like of the year. There's like peak, which is now. It's like the Christmas season from around Thanksgiving to, New Year's, what have you. But like Prime Week, I want to say, haven't they done Amazon Prime a few times a year? Oh, thank you. I really appreciate that, the twins. I really appreciate that. I'm gonna, oh, want to remember and go sub to you. I appreciate all the motivation. Somebody told me that I have like just said something like you have good subjects on my Oregon live, which I am gonna make into a not members. It was a members only video about Oregon, Oregonite, Wilhelm Reich. If you don't know who that is, I'll make an edited video soon of it, but that kind of stuff you guys don't understand. Stay motivated, chat. The twin said it means as much as money, if not more. Hi, Erin. How are you? Nice. I have a trifle of peace and joy said. Zorro. So, of course, your cop experiences are all pleasant. Oh, Zorro, are you talking to me? No. I had the dogs called on me once, Zorro. And the dogs scratch up a recently purple paint job on my 83 Firebird, and I was so disappointed. Granted, I had somebody with me that had a record, and honestly, we had just been on a country cruise, if you don't know what that is. We dropped the people off who had the green, if you know what I mean. So we didn't have anything in the car with us, and then this cop was, like, following me and following me, just looking for a reason to pull me over. For some reason, he said, like, I rolled through a stoplight or something, or stop sign. And then, they had the dogs when you have dogs search the car, you're supposed to be outside of the vehicle. They had me stay in the vehicle, and they were having the dog like, he was having the padding so the dog would sniff me, like, right here. It was like, obviously, he thought that I had something on me, you know? And, I'm related to a cop. I went home and, like, talked to them about it the next day, and they're like, "That was completely against procedure. Like, those dogs aren't supposed to put their paws up on your car at all, and, like, they know that. Those dogs are trained in aggression. They're not supposed to be sniffing you like that. That's not how police dogs work." Um but yeah, I have had and then I had one cop that gave me a big speeding ticket in Valdosta. I never learned how to say that. He was a huge jerk. He was really mean and he pulled his gun out on me because it was like a super busy highway and we were right by an exit and I pulled off the exit and pulled over at a gas station and he thought I was like running away from him because I was trying not to pull over on the shoulder of one of the busiest, I think it was 95. Anyways, I'm sorry guys. Um Again, white women love cops. No, I don't really love cops. And then one time I was mudding with a friend, and the cop that came up on us when we were just mudding, like it was a field that they knew the person of, like they were being a jerk. I think we've all probably been around, if you lived enough, been around cops that became cops for the wrong reasons and cops that became cops for the right reasons. So these 3 Amazon workers died in 2022 during a heat wave. And I know the facility that I worked at, the first one, it had air conditioning in most of it, not all of it. And I was like, "Oh, this is so great." Like, I'm so glad they like implemented this because so many warehouses and factories don't. And then one day somebody happened to mention, they're like, they just put this in here because when they got apparel, like it used to be just books and CDs, right? And then once they had started selling clothes, they had to keep the temperature and the humidity right, or else the clothes would grow mold. So they didn't even get air conditioning for the sake of their workers not overheating. It's because of their merchandise, because of course that's worth more than people's lives and health and well-being, in my opinion. Um, okay, peace. There's another channel called Chris Redder and the Real for Public Safety. You might like them. Dang, can't text. Catch everyone next time heading to bed. Work in the AM. Okay, Homer, dude. I hope you have a good work day tomorrow. Hi, Savita. How are you? As a minority, I haven't taught to fear all cops. Soro said. Well, I hope. I understand being cautious. And like definitely, you always have to like watch out, but I hope you don't fear all cops. Corner Club House Cobalt. How are you doing tonight? Peace and joy. Mr. Carey, oh, cool, thanks. I'll check that channel out. I also like the father and son who go around filming in public and then people freak out and call the police on them and they get educated. I haven't seen or heard of that. Peace and joy. Have a good night, Boston Homer, dude said. And Savita said, hi, Boston. Corner Club said, hi. Angry Vet sounds familiar. I'll check that out too. Thank you. Angry Vet sounds familiar. Yeah. I mean, I've heard of that from Mr. Carey. Yep. Duh. Okay. So, I mean, I don't know. I just can't get over that. 3 people dying from a heat wave in the year 2022 in one of like the largest employers and like one of the wealthiest corporations. Like, there's just no excuse for that. And part of it is like, I'm sure the numbers, keeping up with the production numbers. You can't slow down. You have to, they make you log out for your breaks like as soon as you start walking towards the break room, which could be 3 to 5 minutes away. So it's just it's insane. I'll get more into the stuff that I experienced personally. Unsafe weather. This is an issue in every warehouse or factory I've ever worked at. People don't realize how people that do this kind of work, it's constant work and you don't get the holidays off. Sometimes you do. Okay, sometimes you do. But you know what I mean? You work like every single day but Christmas Day and like New Year's Day. And like people don't understand what it takes to keep the supply chain going and how important these jobs are and how underrated and undervalued and underpaid they are, just like most jobs. Okay, the vast majority of jobs. But like when people say that nurses are underpaid and teachers are underpaid, I completely agree with that. They really sincerely are. But comparatively, I just feel like warehouse workers should be getting like as much as teachers and nurses. Yes, it's that important. It is that important. Like it really is. It's vital for your education and your medical care, and literally every single facet of your life is the supply chain and it moving. And like so, like if everybody could rally behind Amazon warehouse workers, which I understand, everybody's in survival mode and divided and conquer. That's the way they want it. But yeah, unsafe weather, being forced to work even during tornadoes. 6 people perished because of a tornado in Illinois. I'm sorry I didn't write down the year. 6 people in one night. They made delivery drivers continue to deliver. And there's even proof of this person texting their manager, like, you want this delivery van to be my casket, I guess. Like, it's crazy. And they told people to shelter in one bathroom, and there was 2 bathrooms, and some people didn't know that. And the people that sheltered in the wrong one, 2 out of 3 of them passed away. And it's just so incredibly sad. And it's not right. I thought it like I had to drive through like I was literally the only sedan. I saw nothing but like trucks and SUVs when I was like forced to drive to work or I would get an attendance point during national or I'm sorry, statewide emergency weather. Like if your state is saying stay at home unless it's an emergency, you shouldn't be forced to go to work. Once again, unless you're like a healthcare worker, okay, we need healthcare workers, but it was insane. It took me hours to get to my job that was 45 minutes away. And yeah, that's not right. People are driving to work in all sorts of conditions to keep the supply chain going. I'm sorry, Amazon warehouses in Quebec, Canada, they unionized. And guess what Amazon did? They shut down or announced they're gonna shut down all the Amazon warehouses in Quebec. And I think British Columbia, um, is doing it too. Um, you need a degree and certificate to teach. You only need 1 month of training to work at Amazon. Well, yeah, that's fair. I think that education should be free in order to be, at least elementary. You should be able to get a bachelor's degree, in my opinion, especially for, like, a necessary field like teaching. Like, they do make it easier to get an AA here in Kentucky, and I think even bachelor's in certain fields. But, it's what I'm saying is, like, they should get paid more, and warehouse workers should get paid as much as they're getting now. Which is, like, I don't know if it's fair to say twice as much, teachers should get twice as much. They get so many good benefits. I think that Amazon and warehouse workers should get twice as much, you know? I think that teachers should also make way more than $40 an hour. And uh, education, the student loans, that's a whole other thing that's just it's set up to make us fail. So people are more economically oppressed because it's so expensive to get an education. And AA is a glorified high school diploma these days. Well, you can do a lot with some AAs, but it's necessary to get a BA, so there's that. You did make a good point, Zorro, and thank you. Like, I didn't clarify well enough. I'm like, I think that they should get paid a significant amount more. Maybe not twice as much, but it also varies so greatly, especially with nurses. I was watching these people like talk about their pay, like in whatever different profession that they're in. And there was this guy that was a nurse that made $1,700 in 2 weeks, and he working full time. So I don't know exactly what benefits. Like, is he pay like $400 a week in health insurance? That just blew my mind. He's making uh it like $800 a week. Like I made that much in a factory. So it is some nurses are only making like 20 something dollars an hour. I will answer questions. I'm going to call you Meow. I don't know what to call you. Thank you, Mr. Carey. I appreciate that. I had a tow truck driver tell me he makes more than his wife with a bachelor's degree. Well, yeah, I could understand that. Tow truck drivers, yeah. I found out that the teachers in my county make around 100K and the principals get over double that. Oh, Bertha, wow. Okay. Well, that's good. I mean, that's good. I think that that's awesome. I didn't know that any teachers that didn't teach at private schools made that much. Gosh, you must live in a ritzy place, Bertha. I know that, like, the superintendent of the school system here makes 100K, you know? Um, yes, I got a new microphone, Bill. Do you think it sounds better, Bill? I'd appreciate your opinion. Um, I you mean like a wedding ring? This is my left hand, and I need to get my real ring sized. I keep telling myself I'm gonna do that. I have, like, a diamond band I need to get sized. This is my little fake opal ring I wear. I've had the ring I need to get sized for, like, almost a year. It's really silly. Question: I have a parent mother who immigrated here legally 40 plus years ago. My father has five, six generations of history here in the US. Do you consider their kid, me, a first generation American or seventh? Um, well, definitely more like seventh, right? Is that a trick question? I do not have the camera flipped. I can see it. Okay. So, Mr. Carey, I don't know how much you want to talk about it, but didn't you have a workplace injury take place at Amazon? Wasn't that Amazon? So, like, I'm not going to go into details, but Mr. Carey here has experienced firsthand. They don't, in my opinion, they don't care. They don't care about people. They have concrete floors. They make you wear steel-toed shoes, which are heavier, clunkier, just more uncomfortable. Walking 14 plus miles a day sometimes on concrete floors with no anti-fatigue mats. The Japanese car company I worked for could afford anti-fatigue mats anywhere and everywhere, you know? Like I do think like, yeah, it would be a lot, but they could do it sometimes. They could at least put them like around the conveyor belts, areas where people do tend to be more standing, especially like more traffic, to walk in steel toe boots or shoes on concrete floors all day. And I do understand, okay? I'm not trying to like completely patronize the people that are like, nobody's making you do it. Okay, I get that. All right. But it I'm sorry, I'd rather be the person that has some compassion for people and is like, "This is one of the biggest corporations making one of the wealthiest people to ever exist, Jeff Bezos. They can afford to treat their employees better. It's only humane. All of society would be better off the better people are treated." Like, would you say that about, like, back in the day when workplace conditions were so horrid and, like, people had to die and dozens of people at like that shirtwaist factories, all the doors and windows were shut and a fire started, like, and horrible tragedies like that had to take place to get to the point where we're like better. I don't think it's as good as we could be. And so like where do you draw the line? If you think, well, nobody is making them work there, like, but where do you draw the line? And they do things um let me see. Hello, new to the stream. Burp Burp said, "Hi, how are you doing? It's just odd being grouped into white you owe reparations for your lineage when half of mine came to make things better. I don't have generational wealth, but seem to catch hate nonetheless." Um, I'm sorry about that, Meow. Personally, I don't know. Maybe I don't. I just don't ever get the like you owe anything. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know what kind of crowds you're hanging out in, but from my opinion, has been most minorities don't look at white people and feel like we owe them reparations. But I do feel like we owe them reparations. We could give them reparations, and I learned about other groups we gave reparations to. Like, okay, like I don't know why we couldn't. I do understand the arguments against it too. I think maybe it could at least make like buying a house or whatever certain things easier. But I do understand, like, how would you prove you are, like, I don't know if foundational Black American is the right term for that. You know what I mean? Not from Africa since slavery happened. It's not a rich place, it's mostly middle class, but most teachers are sadly underpaid. Oh, that's so nice that people are paid that much, somewhere, Bertha. There must be good money in that county. No, it really is sad. Like, what I was under the impression that they're making like 40 to 50, maybe 60 a year, and that's what I'm saying, like, I think yeah, I think like 90, 100,000 because they get great benefits. My grandma was a teacher. She, the teachers union, I don't remember any details. I just remember she was always at that fucking credit union. An Amazon worker in California makes more than one in the Midwest. Right, Zorro, but the cost of living is significantly more than in the Midwest too. It doesn't pick up as well. Okay, Bill. I'm getting some mixed feedback, but that's cool. I'll listen, to it when I'm done. Um, have you ever played Diddy's World? No, good lord. That's nice, Burp Burp. How are you doing? It sounds good. Oh, I already read that. Yep, was building Amazon. I worked for a temp company Amazon hired out of Little Rock, Arkansas. Oh, I thought it was in Campbellsville. Are you saying the temp company was from Little Rock? If your job is that bad, then move on. Well, okay, it's not so easy for everybody to move on. And especially the benefits are good when you do get hired on full time. So a lot of people are motivated to stay on for the benefits. Um, I don't know if you guys have known anybody that's like diabetic and requires insulin, like some people that have chronic medical conditions or a family member with one. It is a huge deal to get good, steady insurance through their work. They might keep a job that doesn't pay the bills because they've got two incomes, and like they could go get more money technically somewhere else, but then they'd have to pay so much more exponentially for the healthcare, and like so they choose to stay. And like once again, I'm not trying to be patronizing, but like if you don't, I don't know if you're like upper class, like elite, this is like a classist thing. If you can't understand why people it can't easily just like bounce around from job to job. And once people do start working at Amazon, an entry level tends to be the highest or one of the higher entry level paying jobs available. If you are somebody getting a job like that, chances are, like, let's be real, you can't easily get a much better job. Okay. And we'll get into how the managers I didn't see one manager work their way up from the floor. And that's another way that they like keep things the way that they are, in my opinion. And see, this is just really interesting to me. I'm explaining like what makes it such a miserable job. And I know that like there's also people that commiserate. I know there are. But to have people be like, "Oh, well, you could get a better job. It's this and that." This is why it still happens because there's so many people that just don't give a shit about their fellow human being. I'm sorry, I am gonna call it out because it's like it's inhumane, the stuff that they do to people. And I'm sure every single one of you that are saying things like just get a better job has ordered from Amazon before, right? Has checked your order to see, is it on its way? Is it being delivered today? And you're disappointed when it's not to your house in 2 days, just like I would be too when you pay for the Prime, you know? Um, but, like, this is why I talk a lot on my channel about blue collar work and how, like, so many people just shit on it. "Oh, you could just do better." Well, when you're working to survive, it's not so easy to, like, go get a college degree and elevate your life in that way because you are barely surviving and you're just, like, working to do it. And yes, it's your choice, it's their choice, but we would all be better off. I wish people would understand that. Whatever you do, if you own a business especially, whatever you do, you work for a business, more people making better money, making an actual living wage would benefit the whole economy in their local area. What about that do people not understand? People not being so burnt out, stressed out, tired, touched out that they like are injuring themselves at twice the rate as they would at any other place. Some of us like physical work, you know? Some people do prefer to not work sitting down at a cubicle because that is misery to them. Some people genuinely like warehouse and factory work, and it can be enjoyable. I liked my last factory job. I couldn't hang after getting my 3rd hernia induced from a major surgery I had. And then my husband, you know, he wanted to go back to work full time, so it worked out better. But it's like, um, no, these jobs don't have to be as hard on people's bodies as they are. They wouldn't treat machines like this. They would be better on machines because they wouldn't want the wear and tear on a goddamn machine that they paid for. Incognito said, I would sponsor Amazon instead of Temu, a Chinese company, which what we can't argue is you so beautiful lady. Incognito, thank you. Um, I agree with you. I have never ordered from Temu Incognito, and like I got the app once. I know I shouldn't have even gotten the app on my phone, and the way they harass me through email and like, "We'll pay for your whole order." Like, I always was like, "Oh, I don't wanna give them my information." And plus, I've heard a lot of the things from there, like, they're really cheap for a reason, right? Like, a lot of them tend to be toxic and stuff. Zoro, so I don't think an American company is comparable to a Japanese one. But why? Um, because of ethics? Like, can you explain why? I had to sign a document. I couldn't go back after that company's workers' comp insurance, and I signed a slap in the face settlement. The pain was excruciating. Couldn't travel 2 hours to Louisville. Oh, Mr. Carey, I'm sorry to hear that. I'm like 5'3". Yes, they are traveled from Little Rock to Campbellsville. Amazon hired them. Um, well, I don't know. See what I mean? Like you literally can't talk like it be anything but monotonous as a woman without being told to calm down. Cost of living in 2025 is insane. Like you need 120,000 salary just to be middle class starting out. Yes, there's this video the other day. Fendi sent it to me. It's like the new poverty line is like 140,000 for a family of 4. And that does sound insane, but you know, I don't think it's that far off for a lot of places here. It wouldn't be that here in one of the poorest places in our country, but reparations are a slippery slope, Zorro said. Hi Jory, how are you doing? I'm like all over the place in my chat, aren't I? How are you tonight, Jory, if you're still in here? Hi Jeremy, how are you? I'm doing well. I don't know, I just hear a lot of complaining and no real solutions. All I hear is pay them more, but that is feasible. Is that feasible? Well, I said there could be anti-fatigue mats. You don't have to make everybody wear steel toe shoes just because one person sued you one time. You could have them like sign a piece of paper that's like, I'm not going to sue you if I stub my toe really bad. Because there's absolutely no reason. No other place have I ever worked at required you to wear steel-toed shoe. I'm not a steel-toe boots kinda girl, you know what I mean? Those are like the hard jobs, right? It's like you might drop something heavy. It's like hard jobs. Like, Amazon's the only place that made me wear it's like they do stuff on purpose to make people uncomfortable, and, like, wear their bodies down more. And then you can't have the composite, or can you? There's composite toe, there's steel toed, and, like, they make you have, like, the heavier, more coarse. Um, they could let you go to a doctor of your own choice. I don't think it's right that people have to go to the Amazon doctor in order to get compensated. That needs to be done away with. I've already what else? And I haven't even really gotten into, like, my personal complaints. Um, yeah, the anti-fatigue mats make a big deal. They really sincerely do. Like, my feet didn't hurt after working 10 hours at the factory. I'm not just kidding, saying that. Skechers are awesome. I noticed everybody and their brother wore Skechers at the last factory that I worked at. Reparations would only work if the person applying could prove that they had ancestors that were slaves, and then Africa should have to pay reparations to them too because Africa sold them. Bill. Well, I'm thinking more of how they were treated as a separate lower class of human beings. And I made an Abraham Lincoln video I premiere tonight, and it's like even he didn't want them to be able to vote. He would just as soon have had them sent back to Africa than have them really integrated as a part of society with white people. And like, that's a shame. And I just think that that's like, it's not just the act of them being sold into slavery, it's how they were treated for hundreds of years here, you know? Uh, but that's a whole other topic. I respect your opinion. You know I do, Bill. Hi, Gary. How are you doing? How is your week going, Gary? I was like my dad. I worked a lot of jobs before I was injured. Kroger, McDonald's, Domino's, two sign companies, Kirby, vacuum salesman, etc. Oh, Mr. Carey. Yeah, I hear that. I worked a lot of jobs too. Bertha, I have to admit on the Amazon app, I'm a package stalker. Bertha. Yeah, me too. It's nice to know, when you can go get it. Gary, hello, Mr. Carey and Azaburn and Diamond. Incognito said, you absolutely 100. Thanks, Incognito. Pay them more, pay them more. That's all I hear. Um, didn't I already answered you? I already came up with lots of suggestions. We haven't even gotten into the software things. It's a microphone, Gary. It's a cute little pink microphone. Like, you usually have the earbud in my ear, and I'm tired of having to do that. And if you have any opinion on if you think it sounds better, and I think the green light means it's still on. A part of me is paranoid. It's like not even connected. But if somebody said it sounded better, somebody said it sounds worse than what I'm usually on. It's not candy. Comparing logistics between the US and Japan is insane. What does logistics have to do with running a factory or a warehouse and the way that you treat your workers? And another thing with the Japanese company that I always wondered, why could they subsidize health insurance so much to the point where for a family of 5, I paid $50 a month, and that included dental and vision? That's unheard of at Amazon or Walmart. I've worked for Walmart too, like the distribution center, not the store. That is unheard of to have health insurance like that. And I'm just wondering if the Japanese, and they were a decent sized company, don't get me wrong, they're like all over the world and shit too, but nowhere near as big as Walmart or Amazon. But if they could cut a deal with Anthem, I'm like, why can't Amazon and Walmart get health insurance cheaper for their employees? I'm sincerely curious if anybody has an answer to that, because I don't think there is a good one. I don't understand unless like they don't want to give such a large company that kind of a deal. But it seems like they would be smart enough to know they would probably get more in the long run. Anyways, um, they're companies that operate in the U.S. So the business operating employing people in the US. Like, I think that you can absolutely compare the two, Zorro. You're just defiant. You are ODD, Zorro. You're my oppositional defiant chatter. Oh, Lola, thank you for sending 100. I really appreciate you, Lola H Strideway. Thank you. I want to scroll back up. I'm glad that black people can vote. They should have had that right when they were freed. Yeah. Kobar said, I tricked a black man into giving me the deed to his life. Oh, and that's why Zorro said, you tricked a black man? I saw that. I was like, what is Zorro talking about? Kobar said, correct. Gary said it's working good. Thank you for telling me, Gary. It does sound better. Bertha says, okay, I appreciate all of your input. Boston thinks it sounds better. I commend you for ignoring most of the chats, Mystic Adams. I don't think I ignore most of the chats. Zorro, because Japan is almost 100% homogenous. But I'm talking about the way that they treat employees on American soil. But I do agree with you, smaller countries that are more homogenous, people, thank you, Bertha. Floating heart. That's so cute. Thank you so much. The smaller homogenous countries, they've got a lot going for them. And I'm not saying that as a white nationalist. I'm not like that at all. We're never going to be that. We never could. And I think that's great. And that's what makes us unique. Um, but I saw like this term, I always forget. It's like they consider Canada like a mosaic. Like it's not as much of a melting pot, but correct me if I'm wrong because like people just don't assimilate as much. And like, is that what's going on here? Are we losing our melting pot because of the lack of assimilation, or will things just slowly trickle into place? Because then you see things like, well, it seems like within 3 generations they take on a lot of they eventually assimilate, even if the first few don't. Yeah, Bill, somebody else said it matches my shirt. It sounds good. I can hear every word. Thank you, Bill. Japan doesn't have the same racial issues. Right, Zorro. And racial issues have nothing to do with what I'm talking about, like actually caring about people's health and well-being. And the factory I worked for had a clinic. Your whole family could go to it for free. That was outside of work. They had a nurse 2 days a week at one of the plants. Like Amazon didn't have that. Like if you were too busy to go see the doctor, you could schedule an appointment during one of the 2 days the nurse was there and miss time at work to go do it. Like they were amazing. A clinic that you could go to for free. I know there is an Amazon clinic. I don't know if your whole family can go to it, especially for free. Um, okay, Hog, that's crazy. Comparing the US and Japan makes no sense in terms of immigration territory and GDP. Okay, Zoro, I'm not trying to be mean, but I'm going to stop answering you because I'm not trying to compare Japan and the US in terms of immigration territory or GDP. I said I worked for a Japanese company and it was so different in terms of what they actually did for employees to not get injured and stuff like that. They sincerely cared about safety before productivity. In most places, Amazon and Walmart, they always harp on that. It's safety before productivity. It's not. So yeah, we're just gonna ignore that. Hi, Void. How are you doing? So let's see. I just have a few more. Okay. Picking is fulfilling people's orders. So you walk around, you have a scanner that tells you where to go. I'm just going to give you an example. You can be going up and down floors too, and it tells you to go to like aisle 99 and you're like in aisle 1. So you walk all the way down to aisle 99 and you're being timed with every single item, mind you. You just see it counting down. You have to get it, find it in the bin, scan it, and if you will get a lower number. They don't say shit to you about your numbers unless you're like in the bottom 10%, and then they go and like get everybody in trouble that's in the bottom 10%. So you're just always trying to stay out of the bottom. And but you never get praised for being at the top, or at least they didn't do that for us on second shift. And there's like this, it's not a glitch. Okay. I refuse to believe this is a glitch. In my opinion, it's designed on purpose to wear people down. And like I said, they wouldn't do this to machines that they had bought and spent money on. Um, they make you go from aisle 1 to aisle 99. And then the next item you have to get is back in aisle 1, but you get ragged on if you're not fast enough. And like I understand every once in a great while there might be the chance. I really don't think that the items are coming in so fast. Oh, somebody just ordered something from aisle 1 even though you were just there. Like we're sending it right to you anyways because you're the closest one to it. Like while that is in the realm of possibilities, this shit happens so much. And where you'll be like on floor 1, have to go up the stairs to floor 3, and then back down to floor 1, and then back up to floor 3. Like they do this shit on purpose. And the reason why they get away with it is because whenever anybody brings up anything that could be any change that could actually help people, there's always lobsters in a bucket like Zorro and people like that want to say, but you don't have to work there. But nobody's holding a gun to your head. No, you're not. You don't have to work there. I'm sorry. I'd rather be me. I'd rather have some compassion for blue collar workers and people that literally keep everything running for all of us than to be like, well, nobody's making them do that. Well, no, I guess nobody's making you have a heart with some empathy either. But, and I appreciate the constant comment, Zorro, because you just help drive traffic to my channel. Good night, Boston. I hope you sleep good. Love you, babe. Amazon is an entry level job. Once again, have you guys do you not know what it's like to really need health insurance badly? Because I've known so many people at the jobs I had where it's like it is such a big deal for them to have health insurance. I can think of 2 people off the top of my head. It was insulin related. And then one girl, she's like, "Oh my gosh, the last job I had, it was $600 a month for health insurance, and then it was like $900 on top of that." I was like, "How could you afford that? Wouldn't like you just be afford like paying for your health stuff?" And this was a 21-year-old young woman, and like once again, you probably think that's all her fault too, right? You're probably sitting there thinking, "Well, nobody made her drink all that soda," assuming because you don't even know if it's type 1 or 2 or hold on, I'm sorry. I don't know if it's specific which one gets the insulin, forgive me, but whatever. The point is, I know what it's like to need procedures that cost 1,500, $3,000, $7,000, and having to take everything out of your husband's retirement account to pay for that procedure. Like, there's things that set people back. A lot of it has to do, medical issues. Yeah, a lot of people spend frivolously. They get the expensive car they shouldn't have gotten. Yes. A lot of people, they simply can't afford life. And once you get in that habit of living paycheck to paycheck, it is extremely hard to get back up above that. And I don't understand why more people can't understand it. And the wage stagnation, like when I see anybody working an hourly job, like at a retail facility, like I don't see how they live. How does anybody live off of 10 11, $12 an hour, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17? How does anybody live off of like any of these like our and like part of the reason why this can happen, what people are like, I think it's like the worst recession since the Great Depression, in my opinion. And they're just like covering it up. Like we all have so many conveniences. And like while we might not be straight up starved as much, so people are becoming more malnourished, in my opinion. I think there's a lot of malnourished people. I know I can feel the difference when I'm eating a bunch of cheap food because we're on like an extremely tight budget and I'm eating a bunch of empty carbs and bullshit GMO type processed food compared to like actual good whole food, more expensive butter and dairy and meat. Like you instantly feel better and you are like I personally, I'm like less hungry all the time. It's like um yeah, the microphone is pink. Um Nathan, they tried to go union in Quebec and then they shut down all the Amazon warehouses there. But, like, that's no reason to not encourage it. I do agree. We need to unionize. And of course they're like, "Oh, it's bad for the customers." That's they're always like they use that it's always the customers. They try to like send like when you're going through training, they play these stories that like make most people cry, like talking about how like you're doing this for the customers and like they don't care about anything but their profit margin. Let's be real. They don't sincerely care about the customers or they in my opinion, they wouldn't have the crap that they have now. I like I said, I do order from Amazon, but, like, so much of it is just, like, poor quality. Remember back in the day, you used to be able to search something and, like, the better quality items would show up, like, more honest reviews, and now it's just all a crapshoot. Bill said, "I wonder what the turnover rate at Amazon is, how many people they hire, how many people they let go, how many people." But yeah, I would venture to say it's higher than other places, but it's high at all warehouses and factories. Zora, I lived in my car during my entire undergrad. Life sucks, I get it, but companies aren't going to coddle. Yeah, but this is the greatest wage stagnation in the history of our country. Wages have remained stagnated while inflation, which happens, right? Inflation just happens. But like the wages haven't stagnated like this since the late 70s in the way that they have. Like ever before in recorded American history. That's what people don't seem to be understanding. And I think a lot of people that's like, yeah, you've been through hard times, but like you had more opportunity to climb back up the economic ladder. People are so economically oppressed, it is harder now to get out of that car living situation than when you were living in it comparatively. And I am speaking in generalities, but that's like where the problem lies with the wage stagnation is people can't it is so sad, and people like I'm so I don't understand. Like I do understand people being completely out of touch, people not knowing what a gallon of milk costs that are like Kim Kardashian. I just don't feel like any of those people are in my chat. For correct me if I'm wrong. I just don't feel like any like millionaire elite because I see most of those people as pretty stuck up and classist and they wouldn't associate with me not even through a screen watching me. I don't know, maybe like to laugh at me, somebody like laughing at how yellow my teeth are, how I can't afford Botox and the wrinkles in my forehead, and like picking me apart, all the stuff that I can't look like a woman that's trying to look younger than what she is. Let's be real. None of those people actually look younger. Actually, no, I have seen some good work lately, I'll admit. But then it's like, okay, so like Chris Jenner and Lindsay Lohan recently, you see them and their new faces, and it's like, oh, okay, like that's some good work. Like, but then you see more pictures, and it's like, there's some good pictures. This modern need to have instantaneous delivery is what pushes a system then which then puts employees' safety second. Yes, Dorothy, that is a big part of it. Did I see Jay Hardy? Hey, Jay Hardy. Yeah, Bezos is one of the richest guys you know about. I'm sorry I didn't say hi to you. If you said hi, I don't think you said hi though. How are you doing, Jay? I washed dishes in California prison for 27 cents an hour, Zora said. Oh, you were in prison? I was a homeless parolee for years, but God and hard work got me through it. But you just got to keep going. Um, Nathan Hazelhurst said, "Marry a good man so you don't have to work." Nathan, I'm going to teach you. There is work in maintaining a household, cooking. Like, you could be lazy about it, but like your husband employs you as a homemaker, ideally. And I have a lot to say. I saw James Sexton, which I just posted him recently. I like James Sexton, the divorce attorney. I thought he was very rational, a good example of like a rational person. And it's like often in like these like red pill circles, but he's like a good guy. And he was like basically talking shit about stay at home moms and about how I asked them, what do you do? And they say, I take my kid to school. And I'm like, do you actually take them? Or are you just taking them to the bus stop? And they're like, I'm taking them to the bus stop. And I'm like, oh my gosh, and, like, how you basically don't do anything. It's like, your kids aren't in school for 12 to 20 hours a day. Like, there's still plenty of time where, like, if you're an involved parent, you've got plenty to do, and I just realized something that I meant to do today that I didn't do. Oh, well, I just have to get it by Saturday. But, but yes, it is a privilege, and I know not everybody has a special needs child, but you throw in medical issues, one person with special needs, it's like that really does change a lot of situations. And then, like I said, Amazon knows, like they know to be in close proximity to a bunch of people that are like desperate for the work. I'll admit, I've been desperate to work. I'd rather be desperate for work, go out and get a job than not. I have children, so like I respect and appreciate, and I don't mean that as a dig towards anybody that's disabled. I really don't. But you know what I mean? Like there's no shame in working any job. Absolutely no shame. I respect anybody that works any job. Like I don't care. You have my utmost respect if you have a good work ethic. I don't care if you stuff envelopes. I don't care if you're a trash man. Whatever you do, you get up and do it every day, full time, like part time, you just consistently. I don't care. I think everybody needs to get paid more. I think everybody needs to get paid a significant amount more, with exception of most CEOs. Okay, and some CEOs deserve what they get. So I don't mean that about all CEOs. Um, I've lived on $290 EBT dollars for years. Well, Zorro, you know what a lot of people say about people that lived on EBT, and like how disparaging they would be about somebody like you who had it for years. I've never had it. That would have been nice. I would have killed to have EBT for years. Honestly, that would have been so helpful. I couldn't get help when I was furloughed from work for 6 months with no income coming in, but Instacart. So, it's just kind of funny that you would be like you are about warehouse workers and then say all this stuff. You're not proving anything to me other than that somebody that has been through the ringer can still look down on blue collar workers and think that they should just get another job. Somebody has to do it. Why don't people understand that? Somebody has to do these jobs. They should be getting paid living wages. There's no people not doing these jobs. Like it's just simply not going to happen. It like seriously, society would seriously collapse. People have to constantly move pallets around, move stuff around in semi trucks. Loading semi trucks, unloading semi trucks is some of the hardest work anybody will ever do in their life. I have so much respect for people that do that shit. When I hear about somebody complaining about how hard it is, the last thought on my mind is, you don't have to do that. Nobody's making you do that. I'm like, thank God that there's anybody still willing to do that for these wages. Oh my God, what would we do without them? Because some people genuinely like hard work. Some people like the way it feels to work a physical job. The time goes by faster. I've done, waitressing, cashiering, and you're just like sitting there concierge at a timeshare resort where most of the time you're just sitting there doing nothing. Oh, that sounds great to get paid to sit there and do nothing. It's like torture for some people with some brains. They don't want to sit there and do nothing. That's cool if you like those jobs because guess what? We need those too. We need in the cashiers. It's so hard. It seems like it'd be fun. Like when I was a little kid, I'm like, oh, I want to be a cashier. It'd be fun to ring up groceries and like bag them and stuff. It's not when it's your actual job. I know how hard and physical that can be. It's a very physical job. You don't realize until you do it for 8 hours. So I'm not saying that they don't work hard. I don't mean it like that. I just mean there can be a lot of downtime. Same thing with waitressing. You might go in and not make any money that shift. And you still have to claim tips because they don't want to make it look like they didn't, they owe you any money. Like that has happened in so many restaurants before where they made me claim tips I didn't make. Um, and I would never say to somebody, just go get another job. And all the laughing faces really help. Thanks. Laugh at me all you want. I love this. I get paid to talk, and you help me when you make fun of me and laugh at me. Keep it coming. Like, that's what's so great about this setup. The people that think they're like taking me down a notch and causing me to feel a certain kind of way, they're actually helping me. And that's what's so great about having a monetized YouTube channel. Um, you just gotta keep going. Okay, I already read that. Timothy, no, I vape, but it's not the real vapes. It's like the gas station stuff that's legal here in Kentucky. Um, Zora, we don't get food stamps. I told my wife we pay too much in rent. It's not our fault. My wife and kid was almost having to live in our car. Mr. Carey said. Jay said, yeah, Bezos is one of the richest guys you know about. Oh, I don't think anything is an no such thing as an ethical billionaire either. Gary, I just want to say you're a wonderful person. Keep up the good work. I'm proud of you. Politically middle of the road. Love you for that. Gary, thank you so much, Gary. I really appreciate that. That makes my night. Seriously, thank you. Um, I don't think I have to tell you, Gary, but just for anybody else, like, I really don't think everybody has to think like me. I really don't. I do think everybody should respect blue collar workers more and we should unite and be like, everybody should get paid more. Like, everybody needs to get this, economic oppression isn't going to get any better. And like, it's just like we're all like lobsters in a bucket. Seriously, you're like lobsters in a bucket for your own children, like your own future grandchildren and future generations. It's like the decisions we make now matters. The longer we sit around and think, well, you can just get a better paying job. There aren't that many better paying jobs. And there's like so many jobs where I did think about going back to school. Nothing was worth it. Nothing I wanted to go to school for was worth the amount of debt I would get into. And then it was like you get paid like $36,000 a year. And there's nothing wrong with making $36,000 a year. Okay. I mean, most people can't live off of that, first of all. And to go into debt to go to school for a few years and like, get into debt, and of course, I thought about like radiology because that's an attractive field because it makes good money. You don't have to go to school that long. You make good money right off the bat. It would be easy to pay off your schooling. But it's like I'm afraid that AI is going to take that over, you know? Um, well, good for you, Zorro. The way you feel about food stamps is the way some people are about factory work. They can't just simply go get another job. It might be impossible for them for a number of reasons. They might happen to live close to that and not have a car or any other way of transportation. So, like, you just keep that in mind. And I know that's not most people that work at Amazon, but like, uh, the way you are dependent on your food stamps, some people are dependent on the highest paying job in the area, and they're very grateful when they get it. And I remember thinking, this is great. It could have been a great job to get paid that much to walk around and pick stuff off but then the longer I did it, and that like walking around, getting sent, like, from the third floor to the second floor, back to the third floor, back to the second floor, like shit like that is like, oh, like people that are like, oh, poor you, you didn't have to do that, like that kind of attitude. This is why everything is going to hell and why I really hate to say it, but like your future grandchildren and great grandchildren might be living in a tent or something because all of us were sitting around on the internet fighting about how well they could just get a better job when there's like literally not really, if you're working a job like that, there's not that many jobs that are better though. And like I just don't understand. Plus they don't work, they don't hire people from the floor for management. I saw it so many times. New managers come in straight from college, never worked in a warehouse a day in their lives. They go and get whatever degree you get for management to go work at Amazon. And it's like they do that on purpose, in my opinion, to keep some kind of division. And then it was so insulting. There was this manager that was like, I was picking for an hour the other day. They like say stuff like that at meetings, like trying to make it sound like they actually do what we do. No, you don't know what it's like to do it for hours, to have to pee and not be able to go to the bathroom because you're too far away and like have the timer counting down on you for hours and like I never got in the I'm not just saying I never got in the bottom percent, but it's like you're always worried um and you can get written up, of course, just like any job for anything. But there was also this manager. Oh my gosh, I couldn't stand how I liked her. I really did like her as a person. She would do this thing. I swear it was a tactic. And she came from Amazon headquarters in Seattle. Like she had to have met Jeff Bezos. She was like saying the grossest stories. One day at startup, she was talking about how her dog rolled around in cow shit and like went all over their house and there was like cow shit everywhere and the beds and stuff. And then it was the dog brought a nest of ticks home and they've been finding ticks all over their house for days. Like she always had some weird, really gross story. And I swear it was like some kind of way to like ingratiate us. I don't, some kind of method that they taught her. This is how you can be like one of them. Tell them some disgusting stories. I don't know. It's fucking weird. And when I worked there, you couldn't listen to earbuds. Apparently now you can. That would have made all the difference, like with a mundane job like that, being able to listen to something. That's a pretty decent gig if you are physically able to like walk around. You do have to do a lot of walking, but it's good for your body to a certain extent, right? They didn't make you don't have to walk 14 miles, in my opinion, most of the time. They could make it easier on people and they don't on purpose, and that is wrong. And I almost feel like there's a way that we could show this through the software. They have people literally there on the floor. They have this little like module where there's a bunch of desks and there's tech people there all the time working on their computer stuff. And like there was this glitch where like basically it had a floor labeled as a letter. Like it was just like, it was something that needed to be fixed. Okay. There was no way Amazon would benefit from this thing being a glitch. And it took so long for them to fix it. It was ridiculous. Like we pointed it out because it like happened out of nowhere because they did the software thing change. And then it was like, then one night I told the right person, they went right up to a person in tech, and, like, literally a few hours later, it was changed, and it's like, stuff like there's no communication, and they do that on purpose. They don't want there to be any communication or as little as possible, because they don't want any effective changes. And, I'm just gonna say it, I'm sorry, I really hope I don't hurt any feelings, but, like, the people that are the managers, the people that are in tech, I really got the vibe that they thought they were better than all of us on the floor, just like all you people in the chat that think you're better than people that work at a warehouse. I'm sorry, I'm not pointing fingers at everybody, but, the kind of people that are like, "Well, you don't have to do that, you could get another job." Nobody has to do that. No, Amazon isn't making any money. They are making money, right, though? They are making some money. No, the whole point is this is like really vital. Like it really is crucial for all of us. And we all act like it's just like, oh, well, like, um, I don't get that attitude at all. You're really going to think this is me complaining about nothing if you think that you don't know where to put your food. If you bring food for yourself because you don't want to pay for expensive, crappy vending machine crap, that's all crap, garbage, processed shit. You don't know where to put your food in what cooler because there's 2 break rooms at least, and you never know which one you're gonna be at because you never know where you're gonna be. Little things like that, I'm sorry, yeah, I do think that's inhumane. Not allowing somebody to know which break room they're gonna be in or not giving them enough time at least to go to the break room where their fucking food is on their fucking lunch break, the only time they have enough time to eat a good meal during 8, 10, 12 hours of work, like, yeah, there's stuff like that, like, I think it could be helped, They could. They could at least make an exception where, like, "Okay, you were in module E. I understand, like, you might need 10 minutes more and break because you were going all the way to this," Meh. And just, like, a little bit more human, just like they are at the smaller companies, which has nothing to do well, maybe it does have to do with being Japanese. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. Their culture is awesome in certain ways, but, everybody has their faults too. I'm sorry, guys. I need to get back in the chat. Working as a hospital cleaner, not the job I've been doing it. Not the job I want. Been doing it 8 years. Work is work. Duncan, good for you. That is so important. Um, I think there's a lot of pride in keeping a job for 8 years, especially one that doesn't like nobody gets paid enough, but that's what I'm saying. Like, we need to have pride in ourselves. We need to show like gratitude. Like, people are like yearning for that shit. That's like why men go around talking about like men built the world. And I'm not making fun. Like, people need respect and recognition that they're not getting. Because, like, if you're not going to get paid enough, what's the next best thing? Just like I was saying, like nice comments is great motivation. Like, everybody needs that kind of motivation, no matter what they do. Um, oh, Nathan's talking about oil rigs again. Jay Hardy's doing good. Good, Jay. I'm so glad to hear that. Did you ever make lasagna? Mr. Carey, let Lydia know if you need something. I'm available with Lydia. Gary, thank you. Yeah, this place I'm at will do a video because no heat here and the furnace is broken before we moved here and floors have weak spots. I just haven't shared about it yet, Mr. Carey said. Um, Nathan, you know what I mean. Taking care of your children isn't a job, it's a responsibility. Oil rigs will hire you. Yeah, it's not technically a job. And that's why I try to make it a point. That's one of the things that make it so difficult is like people want the respect of the important jobs. Yeah, it's important that men work on oil rigs. It's important that they build bridges and houses and all of society's infrastructure. But like it's also very important that people keep children alive. And it is a job because you pay other people to do it when it's not the parent often. Unless you're very blessed to have like a grandparent or a family friend or family member that will watch your kid without being compensated. If you are, that is such a blessing. A lot of people don't have, and you should really thank them profusely for it. Somebody you trust and somebody that does a good job, doesn't do things that you wouldn't do, doesn't like hide things in their food. Like, I don't believe in that. I don't believe in like hide. And I know there's going to be super picky eaters. Okay. Like, maybe sometimes you have to hide shit, but you know what I mean? It would always drive me nuts when my mom would like feed something my kids didn't want. And like, she'd think that shit was funny. And I'm so sorry, Mr. Carey. Once again, Mr. Carey has a Venmo and a GoFundMe if anybody is willing to help out. Jay Hardy, you get them dressed, clean them, clean up after them, snacks after school, homework, get them where they need to be, make 3 dinners they don't eat, read to them. Jay gets it. Yeah, so God, I always forget his name. Was it James Sexton as the divorce attorney? I like him and most of his takes. I'm not going to agree with everybody on everything, anybody on everything they say, but like he was talking about how stay-at-home moms don't do anything after the kids go to school. And like I've always had a kid that I home educate or two. So I do kind of understand when people are like, what do you do all day? But if you really do like just cook dinner every night, just like keeping a clean house and like, you have a few pets. But yeah, I really Magnus, I don't know, that's my DNA. I'm pale. My grandma from Colombia was as white as me. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not just saying that. She is Duncan, working as hospital I already read that. See, I just don't go through the chat far enough. We didn't get EBT all the time, Mr. Carey said. Gary said, Mr. Carey, a lot of people here will help you. So, um, so we've had some changes, good changes, but I will be able to do more and I will be able to get a PO box soon. I mean it. I met this girl at the club last night. She said I read that earlier. Hi Andrew, how are you? My day's been good. How is your day, Andrew? Thank you for asking. I peeled logs for a log home company packing groceries as a cakewalk. Oh, Nathan, that sounds like hard work. Um, It's a lot more physical than you think it is. Like, you do think it's easier than when you actually do it, and you're like, "Wow, this is a lot of moving." Depending on too if you have, it lower, if you're, like, putting the like, when I worked at Target, I had to lift up everything into the bags. A lot of places are designed so you're not lifting up everything up into the bag, and that's so much better on people. Just, any way like, work smarter, not harder, right? Like, any way we can save people's bodies, if there was a way to make peeling logs easier, like, there you would use it, right? We are a family of 5. Only thing we have low copay for is a specialist doctor in Florida. We had no copay. This injury that disabled me. Can't do much trying to get more opinions to find a doctor that can actually do something. Okay, so if there's anybody in Kentucky, it would have to be in Kentucky, right, Carrie? Like, knows anybody that's good with chronic pain? Mr. Carey has a pain pump. Just throwing that out there because you never know, right? Like, I have an email in my description. Travel to the universe. Hey, how are you doing tonight? I was just talking about Amazon. There's a video by the YouTube channel Spill that aired tonight, earlier tonight, that was just about how Amazon is becoming one of the most dangerous jobs in terms of injuries. Like, I didn't say this, Nathan. Spill did. Amazon is more dangerous than being a firefighter because of injuries. And it just makes sense to me because while firefighter is significantly more dangerous as far as risks, I'm sure. You're just like running into the fires like how many times a week? Amazon is just like constant physical movement. And there's a few things I want to tell you guys. I'm not quite through everything. Almost. I guess like what I really want to talk about is all that's left is like what I think people would like to know is customers when you order things from Amazon, which really isn't that much. Please keep feeding the algorithm, naysayer Duncan said. Yes, that's how I look at it too. And it really is like when people do the like laughing faces, like most of the time I just ignore it because it's like, I'm not going to feed the trolls. But it really like it, whatever they think I'm feeling, like, I, like, literally reflect it back onto them. I'm like, "You think you're, like, embarrassing me or something? Like, you're embarrassing yourself of doing that." So anyway, any good Mexican restaurants in your area? Yeah, Alberto. There's good Mexican restaurants in every small town all over, like, the Midwest to the South, I think. 'Cause, an actual, like, authentic, you know, real authentic travel to the universe. I am just gonna like actual Christmas, we're gonna be here, just our family, but I have a lot of other plans that I'm excited about. I'm gonna start doing this weekend. Wyatt said, "I need TP for my bunghole." That is so funny, Wyatt. I grew up on Beavis and Butthead. You don't know how funny that is. Cornholio. Bill Clancy, when I was younger, I worked at a warehouse and that concrete floor was hard. The warehouse was hot in the summer and cold in the winter, and then some parts of the warehouse were cold in the winter. Yeah, you know what it's like, the temperature control. I didn't really talk about it that much, but like, I'm sure you guys all know when it's hot outside, it's hot, and when it's cold outside, it's cold, and like that is also something that like it takes a special person that can really do this for a significant amount of time, and like they have my utmost respect. Peace and joy. If you're interested in all your up to date World War III apocalypse information, Canadian Prepper and Prepper News is a good channel on here. Um, Jeez Louise. I believe I follow Canadian Prepper. It's that guy, like really short, dark hair. If you're an asset to the company, you will get paid more. Um, yeah, well, it all depends on your cost of living, Nathan. See, we, like, became homeowners, like, 8 or 9 years ago, so, like, we pay way less than most people that would be renting a three-bedroom, and I think that's crazy. A few decades ago, a few generations ago, renting was cheaper than owning a home. You would rent in order to save up to buy a house, and, like, the interest was higher, I'm talking about, like, the '80s and shit, but, like, you also, um you could get a really good house for, like, $50,000 too, so it was easier to pay off. Um, I think most people need God, see, we could live off of like we could barely live off of like $21 an hour, but that's like that's not a good way to live, you know what I mean? I would venture to say most people probably need like 28, $30 an hour, the bare fucking minimum. That's like you buy your car with your tax return, don't have a car payment, shit like that. Just saying we should or I should get paid more means nothing, no context. Nathan, the wage stagnation has been so bad. I know the answer can't be like we can just like make up for it, what's been happening for 40 or 50 years all at once. You know what I mean? Like that isn't going to happen. But at least acknowledge that that is part of the problem. And that's like it's a scary thought. At what point will people just throw their hands up and be like, "Yeah, I can't pay for anything," or like, "We're all living out of our cars, sleeping and living in the warehouse and factory parking lots." I know, like, that's like but that's another thing. Like people do live a lot cheaper here. Like people can live off of those jobs because it's just cheaper. Oh my gosh, I forgot the name. Well, there's one in Liberty, Kentucky next to the Village restaurant and one in Campbellsville, Kentucky. What are you talking about now, Mr. Gary? A pain specialist. Oh gosh. Lydia, we went to Casey County today. A family member runs a business there in Liberty, Kentucky. Oh, that's cool, Mr. Carey. I hope you had a good visit. Hi, Juan. How are you doing? Um, optional. Thank you, Mr. Carey. Okay, so here we go with oh geez Louise. Hey Fendi, how are you doing? I'm pretty much at the end of my notes. I was just talking about Amazon. Jay Hardy, I made a dope lasagna, even snuck in some loose zucchini. You snuck it in. That's cool. You might not have it, but like if you have a mandolin slicer, you can like cut the zucchini long ways and make like basically like lasagna noodles out of the zucchini. It really is really good. And like I said, I like to use the lasagna noodles and the zucchini, but some people use just the zucchini in place of the noodles. Women are remembered for being good moms, not the jobs they've had. Well, I mean, there's people like that did real legit things. It's just like that. Where were you at when I was doing the book? You were probably working because it was during the day. Uh, the Manipulated Man by Esther Vilar, where she said no woman has ever invented anything ever. Like that's such a joke. It's hard to take people seriously when they're like speak in such broad sweeping generalizations and things that are definitely not true about all gender, all of one gender. And have you ever ordered from Amazon, Nathan? I'm sure you have. If you haven't, you're a special rare kind of person because thank you, Mr. Carey. Compartmentalized, Jay Hardy said. It's all about control, a hold over the workforce. Yeah, and part of the divide and conquer, it's like the racial stuff, the gender stuff. It's also classism. And like they want us all to put up this front like we're all doing better than what we are. And that's one reason I wanted to like make a YouTube channel is like I wanted to be somebody who's like it's not most of us are living paycheck to paycheck. Most of us aren't doing that good. And like that's a problem. That's something that like it will we'll be able to turn the ship around sooner the more we can acknowledge it because you can't make any changes when you don't even acknowledge the problem. You're not even self-aware to be like this is so wrong. And like the people that really could help and make change, yeah, the legislators, they're like being paid off by the same companies, the lobbyists for the companies that are trying to keep us all under our thumb so there can be more billionaires on the planet. No, Stonegate. I know you like to come in my lives every once in a while and talk about me talking a lot. It's funny. It's like, you're not going to shame me for talking on YouTube Live. My first pain management doctor in Louisville, Kentucky is number one on the top best pain management places to go. I had to change pain management doctors because we moved farther away. That really sucks, Mr. Carey. Oh, I know you're like, so you can't make it. I don't know how often you have to go, but that really sucks. Louisville has so many good doctors, and there's been a lot of advancements. Like they had the first hand transplant in Louisville, I think, or was it the first like successful hand transplant? I do know that logging can be very dangerous, Bill said. Yes, logging and construction are always like top two most dangerous jobs. But then I've heard these things recently and I looked it up and like there's different results, but there is something that says like nursing has more reported injuries than anything else. But that's like, statistics are like that. It depends on who is analyzing what data and how they analyze it, and then how you interpret it, even. But yes, logging and construction has to be one of the most fatal comparatively. Like nurses might get injured more often, but like it's still more dangerous to be a logger or a construction worker for sure. Nathan said, Jeff, when my mother died, we talked about her being a great mom. Males and females did not her past work. Well, Nathan, if your mom was like Madame Curie or something, I'm sure you would have talked about her work. You know what I mean? It doesn't mean that every single woman never has anything to contribute. Um, What did Jeff say? Nathan, you should not make a general statement about this. That's what Jeff said. Um, and I'm sorry to hear that you've lost your mom, Nathan. I'm sorry about that. Sorry about your loss. The Somerset, Kentucky pain management place. People have had bad experience with that place, so I never went to them. Thank goodness. I like Somerset overall, but for some reason it just clicks. For some reason that just makes sense. I don't know why. There I go being judgmental again. Jay Hardy, gosh, hot in the summer and cold in the winter. Try being a framer. Oh, I bet. Yeah, definitely. And that's the kind of stuff like, I don't care what you're doing if you work in the elements, like, you automatically have more respect for me. I'm not gonna be like, "Well, you don't have to do that." It's like somebody has to do these jobs in all temperatures, and, a lot of people couldn't hang. Thank you, Mr. Carey, for always posting that. Put minimum wage up to $40 an hour, then watch inflation go through the roof. Well, that's why I said, Nathan, there's no us just, like, catching up with the wage stagnation all at once. But it's only gonna continue to get worse if, like, absolutely nothing is done about it. But I understand that especially small businesses can't, like, just afford to pay people double. Um, Fendi, because 'cause they're greedy as fuck. I didn't see what the first thing you said, Marine, was, if you said something else. I identify as UPS Boeing 747 Brandon. Hi, Gnostic Light Being. How are you doing today? Fendi, you're just okay. Everybody's okay today. It's been an okay day. Lydia, the ship is starting to sink and tipping nose up slowly, and these delusional ass MFers talking about turning it around. Get the fuck out. I want to know they smoke and they must be good. I was talking about turning it around, but I know what you mean, Fendi. Yeah, the only real solution I feel like is to be like, and I know this isn't possible for everybody, but as self-sustainable as possible, and just like it's just create our own communities like that Jacques guy I posted from the now I'm blanking because he did Zeitgeist at first and then it was the Venus Project. It's a community in some place in Florida in like very intentional living. If you've ever seen people that live in like the Earthship style homes where it's like everything is very thought out and like you use your gray water from like your washing dishes and bath water, it gets like filtered and then it goes in your garden beds and like everything is just like designed so great. And, like it just makes more sense. The people that actually cared, uh, the same people talking about cow farts, if they really cared about what was going on, they'd be promoting things like that. But yeah, it's like we don't need even the majority of people to stand in solidarity together. We don't. I maybe even just 10% of people. If we could just get enough people to get their heads out of their asses, we might be able to make real change with like real boycotts. And that's another reason they don't want us to like get together and talk about that stuff, in my opinion. And they have people like Nick Fuentes. I watched his entire Pierce Morgan interview thing and like because I was thinking about making a live about it. There's really not enough to say. I listened to the first hour. I didn't have one thing to write down. It was just like, wow, this is just a distraction. That's what I kept thinking. This is like all such a distraction. We know all of this. And Pierce Morgan did do a good job calling Nick out on his shit. You guys have probably, if you watch any of the same kind of stuff I did, you probably already seen him talk about how he was like a virgin, which there's nothing wrong with that. But just talking about the way he talks about women, Pierce was just calling him out. Like, obviously, you just. Imagine if everyone set their distraction device down and actually communicated with each other. I cut my own wood to heat my own home. Gnostic light being, that sounds great. We had a wood stove for 11 and a half months and I miss it. I don't miss the mess, but like I do miss the wood heat. Nathan said men don't care about women do for work in general and we care about them as a mother. Nathan, I get that. I do get that. And I understand that like a lot of people seem to feel that way. Like the man that has the career, he just wants a solid woman to have children with. He's not necessarily getting with another career driven person, but that's not the case 100% of the time. I understand statistically it seems so that is generally what happens the most. But there's still plenty of people out there that want somebody on their level. Look at Jeff Bezos. He could marry anybody he wanted to. He got with somebody that was age appropriate. Almost anybody he wanted to. You know what I mean? He could have gotten with some beautiful Adriana Lima looking chick. Look what it got with, it just upstate New York, 20 years, lived in Alaska. Gnostic, that's so cool, Gnostic. Oh, I love that. I can't wait to have Hi, Wissam, how are you? Wissam Kamasi, if you're still in here. Jay Hardy, deep sea fishermen, underwater welders, and carpenters, worst fatality jobs according to my last OSHA class. Thank you for saying that. Yeah, underwater welding. Yes, I have heard that is tough. And that's something I've seen women do. I know it's probably not half and half. Acid Burn is alive. Yay. Look, Acid Burn, I have a new cute microphone. It's pink, if you can't tell. How are you feeling? Are you better than 50% better? You're in Somerset, New Jersey now, Gnostic. Is that what you're saying? Do you like it there? I've been to Somerset long, long time ago. In Kentucky, that's cool. Bill Clancy, I worked on dairy farms. They were dangerous. Construction sites were very dangerous. Sometimes, even though you have safety guys, are still accident. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's a miracle. I want to knock on wood right now. It's a miracle there aren't more accidents. Every place I've ever worked at, like we had a very strict, like you just walk in this path because the forklifts weren't allowed on it. So you knew you were safe because like people don't realize those forklifts will flatten you. No, just leave and go to another country, a non-Western one, Fendi said. Yeah, I'm sure if more people could afford to, they would pick up and do it. And when we sold our house, if I didn't have kids, I might have seriously done that. But I just couldn't like take my kids to another country. It just felt like that was wrong. Hi, Vam. I don't really like people calling me baby. So if you could refrain from that, that would be great. Gnostic, they have a McDonald's in Science Hill, Kentucky now. That's funny. I think I've driven through Science Hill. Bill Clancy, nursing home, CNAs, a long time to get hurt from lifting people up. Yes, Bill. I'm sure that's what a lot of nursing injuries are from moving people. I've heard that a lot. And even though they have special equipment and stuff, it's still Gnostic, jock that had the homes and the beaches in Hawaii before they were thrown out, that early surfboarders and hippies lived in it. Oh my gosh, that sounds so cool. Yes, it's a new mic. Do you think it sounds better, Fendi? I want everybody that will tell me what their opinion is on it. Because so far, most people say it sounds better than my earbuds, but I've had one person say that it sounds worse. Scott Hardy, what the fuck you mean companies can't pay double if their profits are in the billions? Yes, they can. Not every company can, Scott Hardy. The profits that are in the billions, sure, but I'm thinking more about like there's more small businesses. America's comprised of like small businesses, Um, and you don't realize what a company's overhead is. Like a small business might seem very profitable, but it's really like insurance. They kill small business owners with regulations. And that's another thing that we could all help if we all cared, because America is set up for business owners. And if we could both, why did I say that? If we could all be more business minded, um, and think about so you're right, Scott, about some. There are injuries in nursing because it's dominated by women. Yes, lifting up people is difficult for them. Well, I think a lot of it has to do with burnout. Why wouldn't there be injuries in education, other female dominated fields? It's definitely physical. And I think that their hours are freaking crazy. And that's another thing. Like, why do like the way, not all nurses, but a lot of them work these crazy, like 7 days on, 7 days off type situations. This is also common in factory work and warehouse work, having these weird, I forget the name for it, if somebody thinks about it, where you like literally work a week or two straight and then you'll have a week off. Like, I don't think that that's right. Like, why do they have to do that? Is there a reason? Because I think we should all be working less. That's another thing. We're producing more, we're working more hours. We work more now than like at the beginning of like, okay, I shouldn't say that. Like, I know that for a fact. We work more and more hours than we used to. That is a fact. And then like it's just another method of control in my opinion, because as the population grew, in order to keep us under their thumb, they have to like control us. And let's see. Is I didn't hear it connect. I'm sorry. I'm gonna get off of here soon, but if you could tell me, I'm gonna just unplug that. Can y'all hear me? Is it super crappy? Like I'm talking through my phone, not my earbud. I'm just gonna read the chats and probably go. Mr. Carey Cares is such a simp. Anthony said, no, he's not. No, I don't know why you would say that. Do you know him? Are you guys just playing? Gnostic, I did a lot of self-fixing while learning to love myself instead of being a people pleaser. I'm now a healed empath. God's got me back. I'm cautious on making decisions. Gnostic, I love hearing that. This is better. So do you think this is better than what my little pink one was? It is. Oh, that's disappointing to hear. I'm interested to hear the actual change take place on the video, going from one to the other. And, because when I listened to this through my video, because I didn't test it till after I recorded my Abraham Lincoln video, and I was like, "Oh, it sounded better." Like maybe this will be better for videos. Um, so it's better. Well, I'm so glad you guys were on here to help me with that. Thank you for being my testers. We can work from home. We can work less and make more money unless you're a drunk, Scott said. Exactly. There's a lot of bourbon distilleries around here, Scott, so my mind went right to the distilleries. That's so funny. Mr. Carey cares is a Discord mod that wears a fedora and is on Reddit all day, Anthony. Bill, I can remember a time when nobody had cell phones. Do you want your vehicle? You went from A to B. We had no cell phones. I did have an MCI card. Of course, we had pagers. I remember that too, Bill. Isn't it amazing how much has changed in just a generation? I mean, that's I always think about like when I was a child, we didn't have caller ID. And then we got caller ID when I was like 8 years old. And the way we went from not knowing who called you when the phone rang, who was calling, to having the internet and being able to talk to people across the world. I consider myself odd because I actually take into consideration others. Oh, Gnostic. Yeah, it can be difficult, and I know some people, oh, boo-hoo, but like it is difficult. Like I cry every day over like something that makes me sad, like empathizing, feeling bad for somebody or some situation. I have a special needs kid, and often it's not even like him. It's me thinking about people like him in bad situations or, not being taken care of as well as they could be. And like just children in general, special needs or not, like people in vulnerable situations, just like knowing that there's always horrible things going on in the world is like hard to deal with. So it's like maybe that's one reason I like to focus on things that are like difficult, but like easier to talk about. Like, yeah, and somebody has to if I could go back to school for law school, if it was an easy thing to do and I had an infinite amount of money and time, I would love to go to school for law, like just to help people. Um, well, Anthony, I don't know who the heck you are, Anthony, but Mr. Carey is disabled. He just said that I am disabled. um, I don't know. Do you know him, Mr. Carey? You can block him. I don't. Yeah, ban me, he said. He wants to be banned. Don't want to ban you. So you do know him? Oh, okay, you like him. My cousin has angel mans, Nathan said. Oh, Nathan, really? Yeah, I don't want to like say anybody, I don't know if you said it, but yeah, I know somebody who's has a kid with that. Um, so I know about that. Gnostic, people are so fast to just opinions versus waiting to see what actions follows words. Yes. Hi, Rogue. How are you doing tonight, Rogue? This mic is louder. Okay. I wonder if there's a way to like turn up the volume. I don't think there is on the little mic. But yeah, it's good to have, a backup too, right? It's like I've had these earbuds for dang near like 3 years, and it's like, they've worked really well. I've heard earbuds can be a pain in the butt with like software issues and stuff, but mine never have. Bill, so I guess I have to get one of those mics when I start doing a live stream. Do they make them in red, white, and blue? Bill, do you have 50 subscribers yet, Bill? I only saw them in black and pink. You might be able to find a white one, but I don't think I ever saw any that weren't black or this pink. That's why I jumped on the pink because it was the same price too. Like often when they make a color variation, it costs more. My biological mom said I should become a private investigator because I found her in sealed documents because I'm so good at digging up info on folks. That's so cool, Gnostic. So you were adopted, if you don't mind me asking.
It's fine, likewise. Thank you for your input, Nathan. Bill, America has less leisure time. I could remember when I was a kid, we all had leisure time, right, Bill? Yes, that's another way they're like driving us crazy and like people working. Oh, you sent a membership to TCW. Thank you, Acid Burn. Thank you. Um, it's such a shame, especially with the increase in technology. Like we should be working less. We should be working more from home. And I know a lot of people do work from home, especially since, 2020, which I think is great. And I'm like sincerely happy for people that have easier lives, no commute. And I know you still work. It doesn't mean you don't work. I didn't mean it like that because I don't want to like, people that, have a better life because they work from home. Thank you, Rogue. Isn't it 100 times 2? Thank you so much, Rogue. I appreciate you guys and the gifts. It's so much fun getting the little pictures. I just enabled that like a week ago, like a dork. Hey, Johnny Melancholy, how are you? You were adopted, Gnostic said. It took you 40 years to meet your biological mom. Well, I'm glad you got a chance to meet her. I'm glad she's still on this earth and you got a chance to meet her. That's awesome that you found her. Hmm. The sonograms weren't that great back in the old days, not accurate. Right, right. Got 99% of my money in Bitcoin now, Acid Burn said. Well, good luck with that, Acid Burn. I don't know anything about that. I know that I have like, I'm not kidding, like 4 Bitcoins floating around out there from like 15 years ago. I don't know how to find them or access them. I probably never will. What is that? Oh, isn't that like $40,000 or something? AI will wipe out many job skilled trades last. Yes, definitely, Nathan. Thank you, Acid Burn. I saw that heart. I don't know why I can't heart it anymore and try. Thank you. It's like they used to stay on the screen longer. What is going on with it? Um, I was born a boy. I told her I must have been pissing people off at an early age. Gnostic said. Bill Clancy, I know you're going to get out of here, Lydia. Good night. Yeah, I should get out of here. Good morning. How are you doing? Happy holidays. What is your name? I'm Lydia. How are you? I'm a gentleman now. She passed of cancer back in 2016. Oh, I'm sorry to hear about that, Gnostic. Well, I'm really glad you got to meet her. Trades will always be needed. Yes, and you can't really automate, even though I've seen like these 3D printed house things, like you definitely need somebody. Um, I took my car in somewhere yesterday. This is just another good example of, I don't know if this is Kentucky hospitality. I don't really want to call it that. It's not hospitality. It's like our AC stopped working over the summertime, and a guy spent an hour in here to troubleshoot and realize it was an electrical issue. And he left without charging us anything from an air conditioning company. So I gave him like 20 bucks. I gave him a tip. The fact that he spent an hour here and then he's like, I'm not going to charge you anything, just refer you to this electrician. It's like, geez Louise. And then the electrician was here for like 4 hours and he charged like 100, 120. Like, I'm just not used to this. I'm sorry. In Southern Indiana, that would have been like $375 at least for like 4 hours with an electrician. And rightfully so, depending on what they're doing or whatever. And he was like, anyways, I think this man told me about this filter I didn't realize was a filter. There's 3 filters in our AC thing, and we didn't know this one thing was a filter. It was so disgusting. We didn't even know what it was. Oh my god. It was like on the anyways. He's like, "You do realize this is a filter?" I was like, "No." So, thank God for that man. I think about him all the time, like, thank God they, Lida, what are you saying that, Gnostic? I'm related to Susan B. Anthony. Oh, are you saying I didn't know if you were saying my name, Lydia. That's so cool, Gnostic. Um, can you shout out my channel? I don't know, Brandon, can I? So anyways, I took my car in yesterday because I had gone off in a ditch. It was so dumb. It was completely dumb. I've been driving for like 24 years now. It was stupid. And my 16-year-old who's learning how to drive was with me, and I was like, let this be a lesson to you. I should have turned right. I couldn't see where I was going. I should have turned right instead of left. And like, anyways, I was concerned because my car drove fine, but then the check engine light came on, then it went off. And so then I made an appointment they said there was just a few clips that needed to be replaced, like plastic clips, and they taped something, and they're like, "We checked the suspension, we, like, did, like, an inspection, like, it's fine, that there's no other damage." And I was like, "Okay, what do I owe you?" And he was like, "Nothing." And had an appointment at 10, I got there at 9:50, and I was leaving at 10:29. Isn't that unreal? Like, to take your car in somewhere, have them look at it, be done with it within a half an hour of the appointment time. That is like I only thought that people that, like, bought brand new luxury cars got treated like that at the dealerships. Because one time we got a new car, it was like an Equinox in 2000, what was it? A 2012, and I told my husband I didn't he did it, it was his money, but I told him I'm not so keen on getting a brand new vehicle, for all the I don't have to tell any of you guys, you're all smart enough to know what they depreciate and everything, and, like, that was the first year they came out, and I was like, "Wait till they work out the kinks." Sometimes the advice of the wife doesn't get listened to because 'cause you're just a stay-at-home mom. So that, I remember taking that car in for something or an oil change or something, and like, this guy with a brand new Corvette, he got taken care of right away. That's why I say that. They do that with people. That's one reason people pay ridiculous, ridiculous prices. Okay. Um, Spotty, yes. Oh, Jay Hardy, thank you so much for the $20. Spotty, if you're still in here, which I hope you are, I had a dentist shade down my enamel on my four front teeth. Like, 'cause to put veneers on, because I already had weak enamel from autoimmune issues and or sucking on lemons, I don't know. But, like, my teeth were incredibly sensitive to the point where cold air, just air hurt them. And he's like, "Yeah, I'll put some ceramic veneers on your teeth for $1,500 a tooth, and I have to shave down the enamel a lot before to, like, rough up the tooth and, like, have something for it to adhere to." And they really, really at the top of my teeth is, like, fillings from another dentist after the fact because it was temporary laminate veneers. This dentist totally ripped me off. I did go back to him. He had thyroid cancer and he like made me feel bad for him. But the veneers popped off while I was pregnant, so I couldn't get anything done. And I had these big like pits at the top of my front teeth. And like my teeth look so much better than they used to look. So anytime anybody brings up my teeth, I'm like, the only thing I care about is that they don't hurt. Like and I can chew with them. I'm a Kentuckian, what can I say? I'm just glad to have most of my teeth. But yeah, I've had fillings in so many teeth because I made the mistake of going to chain dentist Mortensen. They're the one that also did a root canal, which was never right from the beginning. Always hurt every single time I bit down on it, every single bite for years. No dentist believed me, every single bite. And I had to kick my feet and scream, like throw a little toddler fit and tell a dentist, you have to take this tooth out of my head right now. I can't stand this. It's been years. I'm losing weight. He finally removed it. It was calcified, chronically infected into my jawbone. And he was like, you're right. That's the only way we could have remedied that. And so, like, after that, and then I poked a hole into my sinus, and I've had to have 2 sinus repairs where they go back in there and plug a collagen plug in with it, and, like, I'm always wary of, like, that hole popping back up, all because I got a root canal from a dentist that, like, didn't have enough tooth structure left to do because that was the only filling I had in an adult tooth up until that point, and the dentist didn't do it right, and I told him I was still in pain. I'm not kidding, this all happened to me when I was a child, when I was, like, 10 years old, I'm like, "This still hurts." My mom took me back and he's like, "You're slobbering on the bite wing x-rays." I'm sure most of you don't care, but so my teeth get brought up so fucking much. It's insane. And I don't I really don't mind them. I'm sorry if they offend any of you for not being we all have like these images of like and I think when people have a beautiful smile, it's a beautiful thing, when their teeth are beautiful and healthy and white and just fucking perfect. That's great. Good on them. Most people don't have smiles like that. So I don't know what the deal is with people they must live chronically online and all they see is like the Instagram models and like and it breaks my heart to see people get veneers and they're getting their teeth shaved down real bad. I didn't get my teeth shaved down like in the points like they do with some people to get the they're like caps. So yeah, there's all of that. Starting from the age of 10, very first filling I ever had in any of my teeth, I went back, this isn't right. It still hurts every time I bite down. That turned into I was 19 years old working at a restaurant. I bit it didn't hurt at all because at that point the tooth was completely dead, right? I bit down and the tooth cracked in half and it was like black inside. And I was horrified because once again, I only had one cavity in my life up until that point. So, this is where it started with, like, the medical issues and me, like, take out a credit card because we didn't have insurance. We're just a young couple, and we like, fortunately, like, we even had I forget, yeah, the Care Credit was I had to get my wisdom teeth taken out, and it was just, like, so much money on my fucking teeth. And I was, like, 19 years old. I'm so desperate to keep my teeth are beautiful back then as far as, like, my I used to hate my big white front teeth, and, like, they were beautiful. And the more you fuck with your teeth, just be careful. The dentists that are so quick to drill, you will just have to have those cavities redone eventually. Most cavities need to be redone at a certain point. And when I had the fillings on my front teeth, the dentist was like, this is the worst place to put fillings. This is so bad." Because like they're just always gonna have to be redone. He did an excellent job. Excellent, excellent job. Cheapest dentist I've ever been to. I want to say the name of the town he's at in Indiana so people know he takes people out of pocket, like, no insurance having people. Oh my God, amazing. Amazing dentist, but I will say this, traditional X-rays, meaning like more radiation, not digital X-rays, and he has no dental hygienist. He just like looks at you and examines you and does the work and will refer you out, especially if you need like the gum cleaning. It's not like he doesn't, but that's one way I think he keeps it cheap. Jay Hardy, thank you again. Um, I don't trust dentist or podiatrist. Jay Hardy, that's interesting. I'm not going to say who, but somebody I know has some issues with their ankles. And it was like podiatrists were zero help with like what some might call deformed ankles. It's just, and they're just like, "Are you in pain?" And the person's like, "No." And they're like, "Okay." You have no answer to why that you're a foot doctor, you have no answer to why this person's feet is like that, and, like, people don't realize until they go to specialists, until their health is in the hands of some of these doctors, how little we and, like, I don't know as much as doctors, but it's just scary. Oh, yeah, face infection from abscess tooth, I'm certain I understand your mouth issue. I used to pop my bad teeth out with a Q-spoon because they hurt so bad. Gnostic, that sounds horrible, I'm so sorry. God has at my back of that, I'm certain Gnostic said. Yeah, I'm so sorry. That is some of the worst pain. It really is. Thank you for saying I have beautiful lips. That was nice. Lydia, Antony never talks about how he got rich. If there's a video, it might be behind a paywall, but which probably might be on his Patreon, the Bag Chasers. Okay, so does he ever promote the Bag Chasers as a way to learn about how to get rich? And like, see, I'm kind of, the more content I watch of his, the more I'm seeing why I like backed off because like I like him when he's giving his commentary on like, you know what I mean, like the social commentary. And then like when I watched this video of him bragging about paying $5,300 a month in car insurance, just like, and it wasn't like encouraging, like you guys can be a big baller too. It was like, you guys are so beneath me and my level. And it's like, I don't know what's going on, Acid Burn. I have the monetization on, but you don't have to send me any money. Don't worry about it. Oh, you're working. If you're going, you're saying have a good evening, working tomorrow night, Gnostic. I hope you have a good night if you're still on here. I'm sorry. I hope you sleep well and I hope you have a great work week. I don't know what SB question mark means. Um, quit saying what acid? What are you talking about? Pulled quite a few molars, Alvin said. Pulled 2 molars years ago, Nathan said. That is brutal. I couldn't imagine. And then there's one experience I don't even like to talk about. That's not all my experiences. I had a filling come out during COVID, couldn't go to the dentist. I was just telling you about that helped me take care of my front teeth because he was all filled up. Went to a chain dentist like an idiot. It did hurt. The guy was like, "Okay, this is a root canal." And I was like, "No, pull it. I'm not getting another root canal." He pulled the tooth. It was like, I think that tooth could have been saved, basically. So one of my molars is missing for no good reason. And then the good dentist was like, he made it sound like he was gonna report them. He's like, "I'm sick of seeing them do this to people. You're not the only person. That was a healthy tooth. There's no way that that was close enough to the root." And I'm like, "Well, you wouldn't see me when I said I was in pain." And um, the way that swelled up and it was like, oh my God. Like, so yeah, and like if any of you are missing molars or you're not, like missing one molar really sucks. And so I have one missing here and one missing here. So it takes me like twice as long to chew stuff just from having two missing molars. I couldn't imagine having like a lot more. And I don't look down on people at all, because like, it could be so many things. It could be a medication you took or a medication your mom took when she was pregnant with you, or, like, there's so many reasons why people don't have, um, perfect teeth, and on top of that, if you do have any issues, it's so exceedingly expensive, and so many dentists are quacks. Did you know that's where the term quack comes from? Did you guys know that? That when they started using mercury in fillings, people knew it was fucking crazy to put the second most toxic element known to man in your fucking mouth. And the first dentists to do it were French dentists. And there they called it like quacksilver, something like that. Like quicksilver is another word for like whatever the French like it's like translates as like sounds like quack. And so they started using it as a derogatory term. Like those dentists are quacks because they use that quicksilver, and that's fucking crazy. I do think it's one of the reasons why my son might be severely autistic, in my opinion, because I had mercury in my mouth, and that tooth was the root canal that was improperly pulled. It didn't have the right method of like, trying to not get as much mercury into my body as possible. I did get IV chelation, but anyways, the FDA released a letter not that long ago that was like, we're not saying mercury is bad and you shouldn't put it in teeth. We're just saying that maybe we shouldn't put it in children or women of childbearing ages or women that might want to have kids one day. Yeah, they said that. But you're crazy. Like this one dentist got really shitty with me. I wanted him to do some work and he's like, I only use amalgam. I'm like, that's ridiculous. I've never heard of a dentist that like if it's like in the back teeth, he'll use a composite if it's showing, but anything in the back he only uses amalgam. And I was like, no. And I was like, I showed him that letter from the FDA. I wish I had a YouTube channel back then because their office manager went back and forth with me through text and they were very nice and cordial and ended up saying I was right. Oh, so like my heart really goes out to people with dental issues. I can't stress that enough. Dentist pulled my tooth in Florida after the numb med wore off. I felt every bit of it being pulled out. Mr. Carey. Yeah, when I was having this cut out, I was like making tons of noise. And he's like, I'm sorry, I'm sorry. Because obviously he didn't want to give me any more numbing medication because he was doing it for like $200. And his teenage daughter was in the room assisting him. And I was just thinking, like, that mercury vapor is bad for everybody in the room. And his poor daughter, like, I've thought about that. I don't know if you guys have heard, but like dental assistants, supposedly, people say they have more infertility and stuff, and it might be from the mercury. Some people are not built to be rich or hold on to it, Nathan said. Yeah, Nathan, you're right. You're right. I don't bring that up a ton, but I have acknowledged that, like a poverty mindset, you will remain in poverty sometimes just from being impoverished, but it is true that more people are economically oppressed than ever. Amazon plans on giving 30 million Indians in India jobs. I did not know that. Who, what, where? Fendi. Yes, Lydia, he talks about how you can make money. He has something called Stock Club and tells people in it what stocks to invest in and stuff like that. But their rumor is, Lydia, that he inherited his wealth from his dad. That makes sense, Fendi. I'm surprised. Maybe there are. I just don't know of them. But I'm surprised there aren't more like Nepo babies that go the influencer route, you know? But if I had tons of money, I like, no offense to you guys. I mean, like, I don't think I would be online showing it off. Maybe if you want to have a community, like, you wouldn't talk about how you have all that money. And the way he is, like, it's so out of touch. But he says stuff about how, like, when his daughter first was born, he bought a car from an auction and didn't have a car payment. So I don't know. That doesn't mean you don't have money, though, right? What's your opinion on the fact that we know more about space than the seas that surround us? Oh, that's such a good point. Hebe Gibby, I don't know how to say your name. If you're still in here, I hope you are. I think that's fascinating. And I think that they probably do know a little bit more. They just don't tell us, maybe perhaps. But I also believe that there might be like a hollow earth. Like I believe in the hollow earth theory, or that it could be true. And like I think there's a reason why they like Photoshop pictures of our globe. Our earth, I don't think that it's flat, but um, I think sometimes they're trying to cover up stuff in the sea maybe too. Alvin said root canals always fail. And I am not giving any medical advice, but I completely agree with Alvin. And if any of you ever get told you need a root canal, I would highly suggest a second opinion. Really look into it, really research. They're just so like they even if they use ozone, like some dentists like try harder to kill all the bacteria, but you leave any bacteria. which it's so easy to do. And if you don't know what a root canal entails, it is really, really hardcore. Yeah, and then, like, the cap they put on it never felt right. I went back in for an adjustment, like, 5 times. I mean, I've had, like, the worst luck with dental stuff, and I really wish I would've just left my teeth alone. They would be better off now. I have 150 podcasters I'm subscribed to, but I can't watch them over you. Oh, acid burn. That's so nice. Thank you. That's such a sweet compliment. My favorite word, fucking acid burn said, "Well, it got through." Don't get root canals, it's toxic. Nathan knows what's up. Yeah, teeth can cause a lot of health problems. Yeah, and it makes me sad. I'm missing 2 of them. And I'm sorry, I don't mean to make anybody else sad, but like when I went to the dentist and like this one had been pulled for no good reason, I think no good real good reason. And he was like, "Oh, he's like, that was your first tooth." Because I guess that's like the first molar you get as a baby, you know? And like I could tell he was sincerely saddened. So it's like there are really good medical professionals out there that really care about healing people, but they're too far and few between. Nathan said, I avoid health professionals, mostly don't trust them anymore. Yeah, I completely understand that. I had 4 doctors tell me I had to get an invasive form of cancer for them to do anything about it. Like, we aren't taught how money works for good reason in schools. That's true. I agree with that, Nathan. Alex said, I like hearing you talk. It's kind of fun. That's nice. I'm glad anybody likes it. Fade, Spatty, thanks for sharing that dental story. You have great knowledge and insight. Do you have any amalgam fillings now? No, I do not, Spatty. I'm just appreciated. I really do hope I can help somebody, you know? Bad decisions are the most reasons people have no money. Chris, like you, okay, bad decisions do play into it a lot, but in my opinion, I think the tides are changing. Like where we're at right now with wage stagnation, it's just like I can't fault anybody for not having any money, and okay, that was a stupid thing to say. It is really easy not to have any money, especially if you don't have any help. You don't have any family that can help you. If you had family help you through college, you are so infinitely blessed. Like a lot of us simply can't concentrate on education, what would elevate our lives financially, or to learn a trade. Often, when you go into a trade, you have to apprentice, and you may make no money, but most of the time, you make some money, right? You aren't taught that much in schools. Look how dumb kids are coming out of them, right? Respect my gamer. And I hate to say that, like my kids are 2 of my kids are in public school now, but like when people would question me if I was capable, like elementary school, like, are you really capable of teaching your kids the basics? I'm like, where are all these well-adjusted, perfectly socialized, bright, happy people coming out of the public school system? Because I don't see them anywhere, you know? When you tell somebody you homeschool, it is less so now. I'm talking about like 15 years ago. Now, I think people understand it a lot more. Then Anton also worked in corporate too, Fendi said. Okay, that makes sense. Jay Hardy and tetanus, SHOTS, is I've had 1,000 rusty nails in me and my jaw still works. Yeah, I've heard, and I don't know how true this is. Once again, no medical advice, but I've heard it's like an anaerobic bacteria, meaning if it has air, like, the reason why the rusty nail thing is so common about, like, because it, like if it's a puncture wound with no air, it's so much more likely to have tetanus, and if anybody knows the truth, correct me. So, I've heard people in, like, the all-natural communities, I always wondered if this was true, because I wouldn't go by this, and I'm not giving any medical advice, but, like, if you can, like, squeeze a lot of blood out of it, if it's a puncture wound, that at least will give you more of a chance, maybe. And I worry about it because, tetanus is in horse shit. And there's so much horse shit around here because of the Amish people and their carriages. Like you will see just like you guys don't know how much they go until you like travel down roads where they are. Jay Hardy said they are all photoshopped. My old lady brain doesn't know what you're talking about anymore, Jay. No, Hugo, I'm 38. The flat earth theory is wrong because why is every other planet round? Alex, yeah. Yeah, I always bring it up because I feel like somebody's gonna think that's what I'm talking about when I start talking about, like, the shape of the earth or, like I believe that they are hiding shit from us, you know? Maybe not necessarily the shape, but it could be, like, a little bit more oblong, like, the magnetic field is changing so much, and, like, that's one thing that's, like I do see where you're coming from, and that's, like, a really good point, and I agree with you, I wanna say that they would say that they're, like, gaseous or they're, like, they're just a different I don't know. But I really like see, people in my family don't get this. I think some of yous will get this. I like learning about the flat earth. I never thought the earth was flat. I was just fascinated with all the theories and the reasons why people thought it was flat. And I do understand like the flight patterns thing is weird. Like when you see the flight patterns that most planes take, it's like, why do they fly like that? But I'm not a freaking expert. I don't know. There's a million reasons why they might like the winds and shit, you know? But like, I know I don't think the earth is flat, but I am fascinated with the internet and the ability to like deep dive into all the reasons why other people think things like that. And this was years ago. I forget the guy, Eric I Dubay. Does that ring a bell to anybody? There's some guy that was like really big in the flat earth shit, and I was following him for a while. Looks flat from my house, Jay Hardy said. Um, Yeah, but, like, and I'll never be able to do measurements, but, I do it's you can't see the curve from your perspective, you're just too small. That's all. Um, Buying new cars is one of the biggest mistakes people can make. Yeah, Nathan, it is. I just, the way I feel about it is like, and I'm sure you'll like this, Nathan. My husband's making all the money. He makes the decisions. Now, he did ask me for my opinion, but like, I'm never going to nag him about like a purchase, anything if he and, I understand not every wife has that luxury, but hopefully you marry somebody that you can trust with the finances and they're not gonna do anything absolutely crazy. And his big thing was like, I wanna take care of a vehicle, like, know it's had every oil change. And it turned into like needing like 4 catalytic converters. And I know those can be bypassed. I get it. But I'm glad we didn't because we ended up moving to a county where you had to get your vehicle inspected. But how many fillings do you have currently, especially molars? Spady, honestly, I've had a lot. Okay, so one day they told me the same place I got the root canal, they're like, you need 12 fillings. And then once again, I only had one cavity ever in my life. And I was like so embarrassed and shocked and like, oh my gosh. So like they know what they're doing, like to like a 19-year-old girl. And like, I'm not kidding. Most of the fillings were like this. They literally drilled for a second, maybe 2 whole seconds. I'm not kidding. They were like surface cavities. And I've learned that there is a difference between active decay and arrested decay. And if you have a spot on your tooth, I could show you guys spots right now. I have no shame, but I'm not going to right now. Maybe in another video. You could have a spot. I swear I have a black spot that's like a mercury stain. It's like literally jet black. The tooth is completely smooth. And one dentist told me that could be an amalgam stain. And the rest of them are like, "No, that's a cavity, but it doesn't show up in X-rays." I'm like, "It's amalgam." So is it still in my back? No. I swear some surface cavity, I used to feel them like behind my front teeth and like they like popped out and now it's just like where it used to be, but it's fine. And I don't know if that's like the bio repair. Um, Once again, bio repair. It's from Italy, but all sorts of countries make this nano hydroxy apatite toothpaste. It also has like zinc and um xylitol in it, and it is like I just wanna show you guys. This stuff is like a lifesaver, and I know that it has really helped one subscriber, Dory. Oh my gosh, my hus okay. We just ordered some, and my husband threw out the tube. Oh, that figures. Well, I mean it. We like literally just ordered some because it isn't cheap, but it's like better. It's cheaper than having to go to a dentist. Not that you shouldn't go to a dentist. Oh my God. You know what I mean? I take my kids for cleanings, but honestly, I don't go. I have tools. So and I floss really religiously and like I have the dental tools. If I feel like I really need to clean, I just do that. But I don't recommend that for anybody else. But it's like when you've been through everything I went through with dentists, oh my God, tetanus is from horse manure. Chris, I know I've heard that before. That's what kind of freaks me out about being around tetanus. You know what I mean? Because I don't know if you're aware, I've been injured by, and I'm not, I do believe they work. They definitely work because I've seen chickenpox outbreaks stop in my lifetime. So I'm not saying that they don't work, but I've been injured twice in my lifetime. And if I went to the ER and they were like, you really need to get this tetanus shot, I just don't know what I would do. Objects like ships disappear in the ocean because of Earth's curve. Good point, Nathan. David, what are you talking about Pizzagate for? The theories, as in psychological reasoning for people who lack critical thinking. Well, I mean, it's just like such a crazy thing to think about. It really is like, why do people think this, you know? And they think they're critically thinking, you know, because they do have a there's a lot going on. Speaking of which, I was reminded of this group, autism moms years ago. They wrote a book and they started this group called the Thinking Moms Revolution. I always couldn't stand that. That's just so derogatory. The Thinking Moms. Oh, so like everybody else that chooses not to go that route, like, isn't thinking. And like, you know, they were very anti, you know what, and they were like, I met some of these women personally, and they were very stuck up and snobby. And that's how stuck up and snobby women can be. Even when you all get together because you all have autistic children, there's still fucking cliques that form. And they go and make their little book and they have their cute little necklaces because they're all okay. I sound so mean. Yeah, they're all rich. All their lives are like, you know, they have nurses to help them with their autistic kids and stuff. Anyways, now I'm going off on that just really like I saw that in somebody the thumbnail. It was on my watch later. It was like a 6-year-old video, and this woman had a stack of books, and like I saw the Thinking Moms Revolution. I was like, oh my God, like then I went to their YouTube channel and I saw they haven't uploaded in 7 years. And I was like, yeah, I bet all the catty women became too catty and broke up. Okay. One time, one of them was like, it was karaoke night and everybody was like drinking and having fun, you know? And like one of them was really catty to me in a bathroom. Okay, I need to go. Or atmospheric density. Are you talking about changes in the earth? Airplanes fly the shortest route, Chris said. I bought a $6,000 SUV and it's like a new car mint. Nathan, my Honda, I've already told people what I have. My Honda Accord has 230,000 miles. It really is like the best car I've ever driven. And then my son has an old car. I don't want to say exactly what kind of car my son has, but it's not a Honda. And I had to drive it the other day and I was like, oh my God, this is how most cars drive with almost 200,000 miles. And I can't recommend Hondas enough. Um, Half-Life 3 tomorrow, Scott said. I don't know what that is, Scott. Well, I'm happy you respect your husband. Sometimes I question that because of how you talk about men at times. Well, Nathan, I'm not talking about my husband, and I hope you never think I'm talking about all men, because I'm not. You know, I'm talking about very specific subject matter. And I know not all men are like chronically online thinking things about women. Alex said, but also Alaska having 6 months of light and 6 months of dark is because of the position on the pole and the tilt of the earth. So it has one side faced away for 6 months and one side faced toward for six. Yes. Or at least some of Alaska. Most of Alaska. I believe a small part of Alaska doesn't do that, but I could be wrong. Avoid the COVID jab. Glad I did. Yeah, I avoided that. I definitely wasn't gonna go for like a novel kind, and no offense to anybody that did, but after what I went through, and I'm like, oh, this was like a new kind of them. I was like, no, thanks. No. I am 38, Hugo. I'm from Kentucky, Pine Hill. Having you on my TV is like you sitting across the table. Oh, that's cool. Acid burn is so weird to think about me being on somebody's TV. I ordered an $84,000 Silverado a year ago, and I'm not sorry. Oh, geez, Jay Hardy. Jay Hardy's one of those, getting one of those expensive ass trucks. I'm glad you can afford it. I'm glad somebody can afford it and keep the car manufacturing going. I saw a truck. Ooh, it was so nice. I don't know what kind of truck it was, but like it caught my eye. I was like, geez Louise, what kind of truck is that? That doesn't happen that often. I like older trucks. I usually go, woo, at like a 1970s, you know? I just love old vehicles. And when we have a farm, I can't wait to get like a really old, and I know a lot of them are manual, and I can't drive that. Um, Really old farm truck. I can't wait. I paid 43,000 for my Honda Accord and just turned 2,000 miles. I love it. Turbo everywhere. I bet that is so nice, Acid Burn. My '05 has 375,000, Jay Hardy said. That's cool. My only concern, if I ever got a car that new, is, like, they make you pay for everything. Do you have to pay to, like, do automatic start in your new Accord Acid Burn? I bet you don't, right? That's just like a Tesla thing. They literally make you pay a subscription service every month just to have certain features like that. Like, I don't think that's right. That should be illegal too. Hi, boxing fans. How are you? Lydia, is your Accord 98 to OT? Because I want one of those Accords. I like that body style. No, it isn't Fendi. It's more like around 2012. But I would love an older one. I feel like my year was, like, literally one of the last like, oh, I hope it's not one of the last years, especially for acid burn's sake. I would drive a new Accord if I got one, but, I don't know, there was something about, like, around 2000, and I really like when did Mitsubishi Eclipse start? Was it 99? I really like the first generation Eclipse, like, you never see those anymore, but if I could have any car, it'd be an Acura Integra, or is it an RSX? Or is that the same thing? I really like Acuras, and I can imagine they'd be very well built like the Hondas. I wanna get another '77 F-150 two-wheel drive build, that sounds nice. Oh, boxing fans, I will. Oh my gosh, you guys, I got my dog's necklaces. I got my dog's necklaces at Five Below. They're not neither one of them are in here, I just realized. And I haven't put Rocco's on yet because I need to add some links. Of course, it's not gonna be big enough because like, Layla's fit her just right, and her neck is so much smaller than Rocco's, and they're both large. But yeah, Five Below has $5, they're like gold chains, and the girl one came with charms. I got one picture of her, but I'm gonna get, like, better pictures of her. Um, oh, I need old school Integras were lit. Yes, Johnny. Yes, that's what I'm talking about, like, with the round headlights, you know what I'm talking about? Oh, there's just something about that, and I just love cars, period. I have an appreciation for, like, most cars, but, like, my Honda Accord has really made me appreciate, like, race cars. I had a '83 Firebird. I got it when I was 17, paid $500 for it, had the motor rebuilt, new transmission, or was it vice versa? Transmission rebuilt, new motor. Yeah, that's what it was. Um, oh, I need to find a picture of that car. Toyota Camrys aren't bad. No, Bill, they're not. I know Toyotas are great cars, but for some I'm just partial to Hondas now, and I know that's kinda silly, but, like, I just am. We have 2 Hondas, actually. We have, like, an SUV and a car. If I could have any car, it would be a Rolls-Royce Acid Burn, yeah. I went to prom in a Rolls-Royce Acid Burn. So, I went with okay, it wasn't that little Miata. I showed you guys that red Miata, but then we drove to his friend's house, whose dad was, like, stinking rich, and it was like a '78, but still, it was a legit Rolls-Royce, and it was so funny because the stereo didn't work, so we had a boom box in it, so we were, like, in a Rolls-Royce, and they have pillows. Rolls-Royce had, like, little leather pillows and, like, foot cushions, and then we had, like, this boom box. I'm sorry, I'm trying to be quiet. Boxing fans, I'm so glad you love my dog. They are great. I will make more content with them, I promise. Now that I have, like, I didn't need another mic, but like this light is so much more mobile and I'll let you guys know. My schedule's changing in a good way. It's all good. Mazda Miatas are good cars. I've heard that, Nathan. I prefer an H donkey at half price built to last. And by the way, I don't even like talking about like going to prom. Boxing fans, thank you so much. I appreciate you. You guys are being so great tonight with the gifts. Thank you. I don't even like talking about like going to prom. You know what I mean? Like I know I've talked about my past. It's like oh, you sent me another 100. Thank you, boxing fans. Um, I've had many discussions with my husband, even checking in, like asking, "Is it okay if I talk about my past? I really don't like it. I would do anything to take back everybody I was with before you." I mean that, and he says the same thing to me, but like, especially, I don't know. It's the man. I'm like, I tell my kids how hot his girlfriends were before me. I'm like, you should have seen the freaking Indian princess your dad was with before he met me. No, seriously, this girl played Pocahontas at Disney World. She really was like a legit, I always forget the name of the Indians in Seminole. Beautiful, beautiful girl. And I'm like, I'm glad that he wasn't with just me, then I would be paranoid. I'm sorry, I wouldn't. I'd be like, oh, is he always gonna be curious? I sit in my car and it's like it was designed around me. That's so cool, acid burn. I guess my Accord does have like I they're custom seats, like somebody customized it, and it's like, I don't know how a regular Accord that year would be. So it's 8th gen Accord, from '08 to '012. Okay, see, I didn't wanna say exactly what I had, but, like, here I am. It's like I can never remember if it's '012 or '13. Okay, I actually think it's 13. I'm pretty sure it's 13, and then the other one we have is, say it like one's one and one's the other, and I can never remember. Yes, Audie. I called Eddie Audie. I don't know why that's so funny. I get paid to go blah, 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 and it's very nice. I wish I got paid a little more for the lives, but I am not complaining at all. I uploaded a video today and like you guys will see, like I am trying to get better at my edited videos. It really is so much harder than it looks. There was a few times where like the audio cut out for like a second. It was just like a lapse in the and like I just it's not great. But I need to push myself forward to keep doing it because the only way I can make a full-time thing out of this is if I start doing more edited videos. You know what I mean? Like more consistent, and it's like, I do wanna share Kentucky with you guys, but it's like, it's so discouraging, like, me going live like this, I don't love re-listening to my lives, but when I do, I just, like it's different. Edited videos, I'm like, "It's never good enough." I'm like, "I don't like this, I'm not happy with it, but I'm gonna upload it because I don't wanna spend any more hours of my life on it." But I want it to be good quality, but you know what I mean, you get, like, 80 views on a video, you don't wanna spend, like, 8 hours on it when you could only spend 3 or 4. Sleeping around isn't good. No, Nathan. I lost my train of thought. Yeah, I do need to go soon, but I'm having fun talking to you guys. Yeah, the body count thing and like pair bonding, I do think there is some truth to that. That's one of those things. There's like a reason why people bring that up. I saw this is just a story on the internet, but this guy was talking about how he knew his wife was with 20 people in 1 year because she was open with him about it. And it was college and like it just didn't sit well with him. He always thought that was crazy because look, be honest, I'm sorry if you're somebody that's been with 20 people in 1 year, like that is a little crazy. And it's just not healthy. If we didn't have, STDs and everything, that'd be totally different. But I do believe like that is a sign we're not meant to sleep around. And as somebody that had HPV, the way they talk about HPV is like you can just get it from a toilet seat. Like, no, it's absolutely an STD. It is spread sexually too. Like that doesn't mean nobody's ever gotten it any other way. But like, let's be real, most of the time. And they're like adults just get it. Everybody just gets it. But like we could help stop that if we told young people, stop it. But yeah, I know you can't just tell young people not to sleep around. You have to once again, it's like constant checking in and like, I've asked my husband before, like, is it okay if I talk about this? And like, if you told me you didn't want me to talk about like ex-boyfriends or things in my past, like I do understand because I put myself in his shoes. I wouldn't want him necessarily on the internet talking, but if he had a channel where he's like trying to help people, like, it's not just me doing like Tana Monjo story times, my toothbrush type stuff just for the heck of it. Mm-mm. And then I'll even ask him like, "So, like, I talked about this last night. Is that cool with you?" And like, I had my first child because of prom night. She was born exactly 9 months later. Acid burn. And then Alex said, "That's terrible acid." And just not pulling out. Next question. Oh, Jay Hardy, you're probably not in here anymore. Or if you are, I hope you sleep well and I love you and good night. And thank you. And I hope you cook lots of yummy food this week. I'm thinking about getting an Accord that when I mentioned 98 to O2, or I might get a Cadillac Seville or DeVille. Yeah, I would recommend the Honda. Because it's going to be cheaper to repair. The Cadillac's going to have like more fancy suspension and shit, right? And I know you didn't ask, but like I'm all oh my God, like you won't regret. Get the Honda and then get like a spacious Cadillac because I do understand the appeal. I learned how to drive on an 87 Lincoln Town Car and it was black and it literally looked like a hearse. Sleeping around for women is worse in my opinion. Well, Nathan, I do understand where people are coming from with that. I really do, but I don't agree with the double standard. I think it's the same. I think it's unhealthy. I think that men are just socialized that like things don't matter as much. Um, but on a certain level, I do agree. I do understand where that's coming from. I don't know how to say it, and I don't I know I have 80% male viewers anyways. I just don't ever want a woman to think I'm not a girl's girl because 'cause I'm such a girl's girl. I'm like the girl's girl. I'm always standing up for women, and, there is something that happens to women when they sleep around. Um No, men shouldn't do it either, but it's harder for men to sleep around. I am not proud of my body count, but us men have to work at it. Yeah, I get that. I do get that. So do you agree with me, Nathan? Like, I don't think all men, once again, not all men, but a lot of men that do get it's like sincere. Okay, see, I just said it. It is sincerely devastating if somebody you really are attracted to is like a super high body count, then you feel like, oh, intimidated by it or something. But I think some of it is, like, jealousy. I think some men really don't care, they just, like, wish they could do it. They wish they could sleep around. That doesn't make it right. But I might settle on the Honda, though, I like them, and I'm definitely gonna get rid of some rims for it, some wire wheels, and throw my subwoofer in it. Oh, that's cool, Fendi. Yeah, like, I keep s like, my car, I've been through some it's the cars I made, it's like a fucking tank. It did drive a little wobbly, and then it, like, worked its way out after I went to the ditch. That has happened so many times where I'm like, "Oh, shit. Oh, no. I hope you're okay." And then it's like, "Oh," and then, like, a day or 2 later, it's like nothing ever happened. I'm like, I don't know what they did, when they designed and engineered Hondas, but most women are more emotionally attached easier to other people compared to men, but you do have some men who are like that, though. Yeah, 0, I get that point, and, like, that guy, the story I brought up, he ended up marrying the woman that had slept with 20 people in just 1 year, and then 10 years later, she was divorcing him because like, a guy from her past came back around, and that's what I was thinking, like, it is something about, like, making so many ties with so many people. Women bond faster and in a way that men don't through sex, at least the first time, and, like, that's what I think is special about, like, women fall in love in a certain they become attached. I shouldn't say fall in love, they become attached sooner, and I think it's designed that way, and then when you have a man's love, like, in my opinion, it can be more rare, but it can also be greater than, like, the average woman's love and commitment, you know? So, I think most women know that, and that's why, it's kind of silly to say women are the prize because for everybody, it's you just want somebody that is the prize, and I'm not the prize to myself. But town cars and Mercury Grand Marquis are cheap too, like Hondas. Yeah. I think when women sleep around a lot, we'll always search for other men, even when married. Nathan said, I do understand that. Now, I don't want to say my exact body count, but it's really not as high as you probably think with my past. But I still feel like a lot of people would consider it high enough to be that like pair bonding, you know. It's like I don't wanna tell you guys, but I do. But, y I'm proof, like, I really it didn't affect me, but I've been honest that when I slept with the second person, I went through something, and it was crazy. I felt like I don't even wanna say it because it wasn't unconsensual not consensual, but it felt so wrong, and I wasn't expecting that, and I was, like, all about that guy, I'd known him for years, I had even dated him before, like, and anyways, see, stuff like that I feel kinda gross talking about, but something broke, and that's what I feel like. Do other women feel like that? I've asked other women about it before. I don't think it happens every single time, or maybe people just aren't as aware, but it's like if you have the goal of only being with one person and then you have a goal of not being with that many people, once you do, like you literally something in your soul breaks. But that doesn't mean that you can't get it back. It's not like you're damaged goods for the rest of your life. You're not. I'm proof of that. Um, but yeah, I'd like to see more people get to, like, not have both high risk types of HPV and not go through, turmoil in their marriage. You know, it wasn't easy for my husband to deal with, and it, like, kinda made me sad when like, to be honest, one of the things he told me, in the last year or 2, like, that, like, my past did affect him longer than I even realized, and that sucks. So, yeah. You can try to avoid that and think of every decision you make now affects your future partner, or it can, and treat everybody like they are somebody's future husband or future wife because they could be. And yeah. Well, you guys, either auctioneer or con artist, women are the prize. If you're a straight man that wants a woman, I'm just saying like that, um, you should. I hope for every woman that she's with a man she thinks is the prize. Hi Mo, how are you? Damn, you're hypnotic. Are you talking about me being an auctioneer or a con artist? Oh, I get it now. That's so funny, auctioneer. Fendi said 20. Um, Fendi, you're so good. Honestly, it is right around there. I don't like saying anything to anybody. I never cheated on a single one of my 130 girlfriends. Yeah, see, it was like the trolls. I understand you're all asking me if I'm older than what I really am. I get it. You really got me there. For the 15th time, I know I'm aging. I'm a middle-aged woman and I don't care. Like the people that come in here and say stuff about my age, but no, not 47, not 40, 45. I'm sorry. Don't act like you're 18. Okay, red beard, green thumb. It's like I was God's gift to girls. I never heard a single girl and every experience was perfect. Well, that's good, acid burn. I'm sure out of 130 you've hurt some parts though. What if you're a gay woman? Tricolor said. Well, that's different. If you're a gay woman, then I guess that the woman is the prize. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. Like your romantic interest should be a prize to you. You should feel like you have won something. You shouldn't be like Akash Singh's wife. She's the kind of person that's probably like, I'm the prize. The woman is the prize. And that's the shit you get when you get with a woman that thinks like that. Not gonna lie, that make you want to sleep around so it don't bother me. Zero. They say God forgives sins if you work to change the path you're going. You don't have to be religious to believe that either works in relationships or not everyone looks at things the same. Yeah, Zero, that's how I believe. I've been honest, it was just like a handful of people, but I got into some pretty shady shit when I was 18 years old. And it's easy to do, like, especially when people around you are encouraging you. But that's another thing I wanna make a video about. I've seen it happen so many times. Talk about blue collar workers getting shit on. Women that do sex work. I wouldn't have called myself a sex worker, but that whole category, the sugar babe thing, sex work, any woman that gets hurt doing things like that, the way that people talk about it is so disgusting and sick, and how it's never the guy. There's like this girl that got found, unalived, and she was somebody's sugar baby, and it's obvious in my opinion, that that guy probably had something to do with it, and nothing ever came of it because everybody's so quick to practically spit on her dead body in the street and be like, "Oh, well, she deserved it." But like, what about the grown man who's like a prominent member of society, this business owner, what have you, that's like brutalizing young girls, but it's okay because she was such a slut. It's like that kind of attitude. I'm sorry, that's like misogyny. It's like if we really cared about our young women, we would be trying to guide them better. We wouldn't be like, and I'm sure you guys have probably heard like in Dubai, like these crazy things that happen in Dubai, and these girls are being found with broken bones and like unable to speak, and like, oh my gosh, don't I can't even imagine the kind of things that those girls go through. I don't like headbands. I do have some Silver Wanderer, but I don't wear them that much because I don't like the dent they make in your hair forever. Women are like children. Relax, guys. No, not all of us, Nathan. You must like to talk to a child for what's 157 minutes? 2 hours and 37 minutes. Well, you haven't been on here the whole time, granted. I'm joking. If I would have been born a girl, I would have been a lesbian my whole life, acid burns in. I've never heard one girl ever been with something I'm really proud of. Um, I keep forgetting her age like I did earlier. I'm gonna lose my wrench. Oh gosh, Mr. Carey. My daughter doesn't sleep around. I make sure of that. Oh, you have a daughter, Nathan. I didn't know you were a dad. That's cool. Well, that's good. Yeah, we need to constantly check in with our kids. Like, my teenager that lives with us, oh my gosh, but he's great about it. What about my upper lip? I don't know, this light, it does look kind of funny. It's my lighting. And then, it almost look like my lip glosses. It's just like the shadows. I have my big luscious lips, what can I say? Okay, I gotta go. I gotta go. My wife has her moments of childlike behavior. Well, don't we all, Nathan? Don't we all? I'm sorry, I forgot you were married for some I think I was confusing you with somebody else. Um, but yeah, that's the thing. I still hope you feel like she's the prize. Happy midnight, TWC. I don't look at anybody as an adult until you hit 70. That's funny, Alex. How old are you, I wonder? Because I feel like people like, the older you get, the more you look back at people like that, but I don't think you're over 70. But, like, I look at people in their 20s, I don't care if you're 29, you're still, like, young to me, you know? But, oh my gosh, if you're in your early 20s, you're like a baby. And then people that are older, they're like, "Oh, you're still so young. Just don't ever put that stuff in your upper lip that makes your lips fat." That was pretty That's funny. This is from that kid. It's not plumping though, but, like, that was this is, like, what you put over that, I guess. See, I'm such a dork. I didn't even know it, like, went in steps like that. I don't know why you're asking me if you just farted, Corey. Um, okay. I better get going. 40 is young. These days, it can be. Gosh, it could be really young if, the life expectancy was what it could be. In my opinion, I think average life expectancy could be, like, older, but then again, the quality of life, I don't know. I'm the Mac, Fendi said. Okay. Well, I love you all. I hope you sleep well tonight. Everybody learns. Hopefully, Alex. Hopefully, everybody learns. Seems like a lot of people are stunted in their growth lately. Thank you for hanging out. I feel like I didn't do a good enough job. I didn't bring myself to the point of tears talking about blue collar workers because I was crying earlier. But yeah, this is serious stuff we need to all take seriously. If you don't, that's fine. But you're more welcome here if you do. I think you're the type of woman that would celebrate 75 years of marriage. I hope so, acid burn. And I hope I die before my husband. I love you guys. Good night.